just think about this. How goddamn crazy it is that they want to sit there and try to convince you that no, now it's because we really care about the people. We're just really concerned. We have to overthrow the regime if they shoot their own protesters. After we're sending tens of billions of dollars to Netanyahu's regime. Because what? We care so much about Persian blood, just not Arab blood? Like, does anybody believe this? Like, how fucking stupid or brainwashed do you have to believe that John McCain becomes a humanitarian? I understand he's dead, but they're all John McCain. So, like, John McCain becomes a bleeding heart hippie, but only when, but think about this, Rob. We can prop up Israel as they slaughter like 100,000 innocent people, but we become humanitarians. But coincidentally, we become humanitarians when it's, Israel's biggest regional rival. That's when we start to really care about the people and the rights. And hey, are the women allowed to wear miniskirts? That's what really motivates my U.S. foreign policy, spreading liberalism around the world.
It's the Homeless Left with Matt Weinglass and co-host Jay Scott. Season premiere, Disrupting the Empire. And a real fake news update. And here's your host, Matt Weinglass.
Welcome everyone to the Homeless Left. I'm Matt Weinglass, your host this afternoon. This is our official first show, our season premiere of 2026. Happy 2026 to everyone. We say that with the most optimistic tone possible. We're obviously going to be skeptically optimistic, cautiously optimistic, as they say, to start this year. And it's already started out pretty insane. We tried to take a little break there for a couple weeks. Didn't quite work out well in the sense that things just started out totally insane. There was not really a break. And of course, we've been chiming in on other platforms. We've been working with Craig Pasta and Fiorella doing some Truthwire. And even earlier today, subbed in there on Pasta to Go, did some interview help on that channel. So we're all helping each other out. Also had some chance to be on with Garland Nixon and did a little RT. So we've never really wind down at all. I guess every time we say we're going to take a break, I guess is the new thing. If you guys are looking for some crazy news to break, just wait for Homeless Left to go on a break. And that news will break, and inevitably that's what happens. I think the last time we took a break, Charlie Kirk was murdered, and this time, well, as soon as we took that break, it looks like Venezuela. We came in, we captured, kidnapped the president of another country and brought him back here to our country. So that's the way we started off this year. But again, happy 2026 to you guys. We're all doing the best we can. And we hope to be able to use this time right now that, again, this is the season premiere episode. We want to just remind you why we're here. If you missed us, don't worry, we're back. It's twice a week, Tuesdays and Thursdays, all afternoon here. And we're streaming here from LA, from Hollywood. But we know you guys are joining us from all different time zones, and we do appreciate everyone and all of you that have come in from all over the world and supported our channel. And we really, really, really do appreciate it. And we are excited about what we can get out of this year and just kind of do the same thing. It's about consistency. It's about principle. It's about this moral compass we try to apply to everything. And when you do it in a non-tribal way, which is what the show is about, it's about being non-tribal. We happen to be homeless. That comes from detaching ourselves from that two-party duopoly. We happen to have started from the left. Now we're here. We haven't changed our values, our principles. We've been consistent. The problem is the party or the club or the tribe, whatever you want to call it, they changed, or at least they exposed themselves for who they really are. And like this is the moment we say thank you for showing us who you really are. And we went through this transition probably at the beginning of COVID, before we started the show, started to see people stop asking questions. You're not allowed to be critical of your team leader, of your team party, your tribe. You can't ask questions. You're only helping the other side, which is the bad guys, and that's who you're supposed to beat. Well, the same thing's happening on the right, and we've seen that, and we understand a lot of you guys watching our shows. You guys come from the right. You're homeless right, as they say, as you could say. But here we are in this space together. It doesn't really matter where we came from. Here we are. And being homeless means we're non-tribal. It means we can be a community, but we're not a tribe. In other words, we don't check boxes to get in the door. We don't tell you to shut up and get in line, and we got to beat the other team, and they're the bad guys. No, we don't do that. We look at every issue, every incident, every happening, global or domestic, wherever it's happening. We look at it with the same lenses. They're non-tribal lenses. We take those goggles off, the tribal goggles, and we can see everything. And once you are able to do that, you start to realize that it's actually not that hard to be consistent. Sometimes it's hard to put principle out there because it's inconvenient sometimes. And when it's inconvenient, that's where the true test of courage comes into play. It's easy to apply principle when it helps your team or your tribe or whatever you're part of. It's easy. It's hard to do it when it helps the other side or whatever you want to call it, the bad guys, if they benefit from your principle. That's when it's hard. And that's when true courage, like I say, courage, conviction, moral compass comes into play. So, of course, today, this is what a way to start the year for our show. I know we're already almost halfway through January, but officially calling this a season premiere. This show, we are talking about disrupting the empire, and it's happening here in our country. It's happening globally, all over the world. There's opportunities right now for people to stand up and do what is right, not for a party, not for a club, not for a tribe, not for a team, but for what's right. And that's why we have so many people in the street right now challenging what we call the empire, which is the U.S. imperialist machine, the Western war machine, the Greater Israel Project, all of that Western Hemisphere psychotic military might or whatever, this idea that we have to go around and police the world and destroy other people's nations, other people's countries, not just our own. So we destroy our own and then we go around and destroy others. And it's on behalf of this imperialist idea, protecting capitalism, protecting the America's the greatest country in the world. But we're also protecting something a little more nefarious. We're protecting our greatest ally in the Middle East, our greatest ally in the planet, as they say, the one we're not allowed to question. We're not allowed to have any critique of. So this is the two-party politics that we got out of here, that we detached from. We're noticing it on a much larger scale. What happens to you when you call out this foreign nation? It's worse than you can't be invited to Thanksgiving dinner. It's actually worse than that. You get completely canceled. You get punished on levels that we are seeing now that go well beyond anything we've seen in our lifetimes. The idea that the police can knock on your door and arrest you for sharing a tweet. The fact that you can be murdered in cold blood while you're participating in a First Amendment right to protest. This is the time we live in now. And like I said earlier, we live in a world where a foreign nation can come into your country and kidnap your president and say we're there to help. Said that we're here to help you. Well, people in Venezuela aren't taking that well at all. And it doesn't matter if you are for Maduro or against Maduro. We do see what it looks like in a place like Caracas, which we have done work in. We've been there. We understand the turmoil there. We understand that there are dividing forces there, very similar to here. You have the Chavistas and the opposition. So when they collide. But in this case, they know to team up on this. They know that they're on the same side. They're all fighting the U.S. empire. So this is what we call disrupting the empire. Okay, guys, just making sure you're tuning in on the right areas. You're in the right place right now. You are obviously Rumble's a great place for you guys to see us. You know, they're not going to pull our plug. They are pushing the surveillance state. Obviously, we know we are in enemy territory when we do our stream on Rumble, but we do appreciate them never pulling our plug, and they let us speak. They let us, they never cut our mic, as they say. So that's been great. Now on YouTube, we are at our 1 year anniversary of this channel. Believe it or not, we've only been on 1 year right now, actually. So happy birthday to us, the Homeless Left on YouTube. Our first channel was terminated, so this is our second attempt at it, and we're doing very well, and it's because of you guys. So thank you so much for participating on whatever platform is best for you. It's totally cool with us. You can even, obviously, you know, Twitter. We're on Twitter, both of these, Matt Weinglass and the Homeless Left on Twitter, however you like it. Now, the Homeless Left Facebook, we're still working on it. Right now, if you are on our Facebook, you can see that we are streaming this on my personal page. It's streaming from the public page. So hopefully you guys can find that. And if that's your method, I don't know what your method is of communication, but whatever it is, we try to reach everyone. And then this is the support on locals, which is very important. If you guys want to be, you know, regular contributors, we do appreciate that. Even something really small really helps us out, or just a one-timer. Very cool for you guys to do that. And we're going to be more active on locals moving through this year. And if you haven't heard of locals, go check it out. It has all your favorite podcasters and independent media folks are on there. And yeah, we do need to have a little more presence. So that's kind of one of our goals this year. We have a few goals. One goal is more on locals. Another goal would be, I'd say, we're going to try to start on time. I know we're always a few minutes over, but we always have a lot of preparation for you guys. I know you appreciate that, all the preparation we do here. Okay. With that said, I think it is time we get into our first story. I just want to make sure we are set up. So go, guys, just give me a minute on this one, and I think we're good to go. Those of you who follow us have been following us this last couple of years, and you know, especially this last year, we kind of got a little system going with our Tuesday, Thursday shows. Tuesday show, we love to start things off with what do we like to call this segment? It's just a fun way to kind of start everything off. So let's go ahead and do this right now. It's called a real fake news update. So let's get at it. Here we go. It's a real fake news update, not brought to you by Pfizer. We're going to look at the way the mainstream media, particularly, we're going to just check out CNN here for a moment, but the story of the moment right now, and you guys, I know we've all been having these conversations with our friends, family, and colleagues, and it's very important. We're talking about the incident in Minneapolis. We know what happened to U.S. citizen Renee Good, who was murdered by ICE. Now, it seems that we've been told that, Fox News is on the side of Trump and CNN and MSNBC are on the side of the protesters, on the side of Renee Good. And that's an easy way to just compartmentalize and pretend. Again, these are for people who thought, they might have heard us say that all the mainstream media are in on it. They don't necessarily fully believe it, but after this, you would start to tune into your favorite news again. And that's what they're doing by design. And that's what Jake Tapper is doing on CNN, making us think that he is calling out Kristi Noem, and it's because he cares about the protesters. And it's not true. I know that this is a feel-good moment for a lot of you guys, that Kristi Noem can be called out like this. So we'll give him the credit that he does call her out. But let's look at how what this results in, and the part that everybody else missed. We're going to try and get it right here. So here is Jake Tapper on CNN taking on Kristi Noem and trying to call her out for some hypocrisy on how Trump handles protesters, depending on which protesters they are. Check it out.
I want to ask a question about the rules of how law enforcement is allowed to engage when feeling threatened, per your assertions. Because I want to show some video to you right now and ask, what is the appropriate response for the police officers in this situation? Those are law enforcement officers being physically attacked. By this standard, would any of those officers be justified in shooting and killing the people causing them physical harm?
Every single situation is going to rely on the situation those officers are on. But they know that when people are putting hands on them, when they are using weapons against them, when they are physically harming them, that they have the authority to arrest those individuals.
The president
make sure
pardoned every single one of those people.
And make sure that they're getting justice for their actions.
Okay, so at first glance, yes, this is kind of exciting. Look at Jake Tapper interrupting her and saying those people were all pardoned. How does Christie maneuver through this? And you can see her getting nervous. You can see her trying to stick to her one talking point. She prepared for this moment. But did she really? She's got her one little line. She's going to repeat it right here. She does look nervous. And again, if you're just looking at the surface of this, you're going to be like, yay, Jake, get her. We'll get to the part that we're missing. But yeah, let's acknowledge this moment that he does get her a little tongue-tied here.
Forward.
President Trump pardoned every single one of those people.
And every single one of these investigations comes in the full context of the situation on the ground. And that's one thing that President Trump has been so focused on, is making sure that when we're out there, we don't pick and choose which situations are and which laws are enforced and which ones aren't. Every single one of them is being enforced under the Trump administration, and the clarity of the law stands. And if people don't like it, these members of Congress and elected officials should go change the law and make sure they have that debate and policy change.
I just showed you video of people attacking law enforcement officers. Undisputed proof, undisputed evidence. And I just said President Trump pardoned all of them. And you said that President Trump is enforcing all the laws equally. It's just not true. There's a different standard for law enforcement officials being attacked if they're being attacked by Trump supporters. We just saw that.
So here's the correct response for her. If she had actually prepared beyond just one talking point, you would say, Jake Tapper, all of a sudden you care about the protesters, don't you? All of a sudden, when it's Trump in the White House, all of a sudden you're defending the protesters. Why did you switch sides? That would be the correct response. She won't do that. So he looks like he certainly got a win here. But the big reveal, guys, the big reveal here is that you got two people sitting there that both are representing only one side. Therefore, because they're tribal, they are not going to get it right across the board. These are two people that cannot say wholeheartedly that they're consistently on the side with the people versus power. They can't do it. Neither of them can. And if you're hearing people sharing this and going, yay, we got her, ask yourself, is that person being honest the way they behaved during January 6th? And they said all those people there on January 6th are domestic terrorists and they all deserve what they get. They showed up. How many people, do you guys remember that? If you showed up to January 6th, you already incriminated yourself. So this is the same logic the Trump team is using right now for if you show up to police eyes, which we have a right to do. By the way, we have a right to do that. We have a right to film the police, to document the police, to question the police, to yell at the police. It's actually a right. It's actually a right. You can yell, you can be obnoxious, you can do whatever you want. Now, if they want to try and detain you, then you have a right to a fair representation. You can say, hey, can I go? If they want to arrest you, you can fight in court. They cannot kill you. They cannot just kill you. They can't do that. So this whole argument about how bad of a person Renee Good was and her girlfriend and all this, it doesn't matter what group they were part of. And if they were trying to hold ICE accountable, if they went too far, it doesn't matter. None of that matters. That's not even the discussion. But again, if you were on the side of the Capitol Police, by the way, I'll add this in too. Another thing if Christie wanted to be really edgy here, she could also say, Jake Tapper, you're forgetting the part about the feds that were in they were disruptors that were infiltrating that situation and pretending to be J6ers and riling up the crowd. So that was dishonest and misreported on purpose by the media. She could have been prepared for that too. But the point is, whatever side you want to argue about how power screwed over people without power, you can argue that side on one side and be right. But you're not going to fully be principled and be able to have conviction and consistency unless you can do it on both sides all the time. All the time, challenge power. All the time. It doesn't matter who's in the White House. But let's hear her finish this up. No, she should have mentioned the part about the feds. We know for a fact that they were feds in the crowd that were pretending to be J6ers on purpose, riling them out. You guys remember? Go into the Capitol. You remember that? Ray Epps. Look up Ray Epps. Go into the Capitol. Come on, guys. Let's go in. So these are feds. So she didn't even do this part. So it's pretty. Again, it looks like Jake Tapper just knocked her out here. But let's see how she ends this.
This individual and these instances and these investigations all have to be taken and done correctly in context of every situation that is happening on the ground. So what we are doing today as the Department of Homeland Security is out there with our law enforcement officers, making sure that we're targeting the worst of the worst and that we're talking factually about each situation and making sure that we're bringing those perpetuators of violence back to justice, bringing them to justice and making sure they face consequences for their crimes. We'd love to have the partnership of Mayor Fry. We'd love to have the partnership of the Chief of Police and of Governor Walz every day when we're out there to make sure they tone down the rhetoric and they do the right thing for the people of Minnesota.
All right, well, we'll ask Mayor Fry and the Chief of Police in just a couple of moments. Thank you so much,
Great.
Madam Secretary.
So there you go. There you go. Seems like a little win, but it's not. It's only a win if you're able to say, I was on the right side every time. It's not that hard to do, guys. It's not that hard to do. Always challenge power. They have the job to protect us. That's their job. We'll be discussing this more later in the show with co-host Jay Scott. We're going to get into the updates on the ICE situation, but just wanted to show you guys that during this fake news, because it is fake news. This is real fake news update. Let's do a quick update real quick on Venezuela, because if you guys want to know how fake things have gotten, they've gotten real fake. Here is, here's Trump and his latest with the Wikipedia post that he did on True Social a few days ago. There we go. Donald Trump. He somehow managed to get this printed or approved in Wikipedia that he is now listed as acting president of Venezuela. I'm sure it's since been removed. You guys can tell me if that has or not. But this was his little joke. It wasn't going to be official, but he just decided to say, I'm acting president of Venezuela. As of January 2026, this is remarkable that that's something that a U.S. president would even dare to get away with this. You could call it satire. You could say, hey, I'm just sending a message. Say it's not totally official. But it's certainly, I mean, we talk about disrespectful. It's well beyond that, because it's going beyond to the people in Venezuela. And could you guys imagine if another president, a sitting president in another country, did that and put the USA, that they're incumbent, they were acting president of the USA, how beyond disrespectful that would be, regardless of who was actually president in our country. So that's something that is not, there's nothing about that is, if you believe that this is funny or this is cool, it's not. Okay, let's look at how Caroline Leavitt responded to this. Let me grab the right clip here. Hold on. Just going to see. Here it is. She had to answer for this. Hold on, really. Okay. Caroline Levitt. For some reason, I'm not finding it here. Huh. Okay. Okay. I'm gonna have to look this one up and grab it again here. Okay. For some reason, I'm not getting that. In the meantime, this is so we talk about what is actually happening in Venezuela. We know that they started with the drugs was the reason. We know that is BS. We weren't able to play this before, but I want to remind you how loud and obnoxious Stephen Miller was about what we are doing in Venezuela. And then I'm going to get to the part about it not really working out so well for Trump. So here's Stephen Miller telling you exactly what Trump, the attitude of our country, the audacity we have to do whatever we want with no repercussions, and he doesn't hold back at all. Here's Jake Tapper again with Stephen Miller.
To assert ourselves and our interests without apology. This whole period that happened after World War II, where the West began apologizing and groveling and begging
I don't even
and
know
engaging these
honestly
vast
what you're talking
reparation
about right
schemes.
now.
It's what I'm talking about, Jake, is the idea. And by the way, you do. I know you love doing that smarmy thing, Jake, and I was hoping to be better than that this time.
I asked you about if there should be an election.
Exactly.
I asked you if there would be an election in Venezuela. That's what I asked. I said, why was the president so quick to dismiss Machado? You answered that question. And then I said,
the objective, Jake, is security and stability for the people of Venezuela. With our help and leadership, that country will become more prosperous than it has ever been in its whole history. Venezuelans
but the
will
woman
be richer
running Venezuela
and
right
safer
now is
and
part
more
of the Maduro
secure and
regime.
better off. There will be conversations, Jake, about all of these guideposts along the way. The reason why I was giving you that speech, which I know you didn't want to hear, is because you're approaching this from the wrong frame. This neoliberal frame that the United States' job is to go around the world and demanding immediate elections be held everywhere, immediately, all the time, right away, to create these vacuums.
That's not what I think, but you invaded the country. We went into the country and we seized the leader of Venezuela.
Damn straight we did.
Damn straight we did. And those charges, just to be clear, those charges were all fake. They were all contrived. All those charges. So you had the situation where you say the cocaine cartel. It was called the Cartel de las Soles. They had to drop that charge because Maduro had nothing to do with starting that. It was a complete hoax, a complete lie. And then we find out, well, we knew this. All you got to do is go back and check a 60 Minutes story from 1980s to find out that the CIA created the Cartel de las Soles in the 80s to create a vessel for cocaine to come into this country. We did it to ourselves. The CIA did. And no one's talking about that part. So they had to drop that charge, and now they're pretending that never existed. And then you got this weapons charge. So the weapons charge is, a sitting president who's the head of their own military, which every state has a president that's the head of their military. He has weapons. Oh, machine guns. That's the other charge. So he's sitting in this court situation right now with what do we got? We have to wait several months for this thing. How are they treating Maduro? How are they treating his wife? This is going to drag on and on and on. And what are we going to do in the meantime? Well, the whole point is you get the oil, but how do you do that? Things don't seem to be going well. But I think I grabbed this clip now of Caroline Levitt because she's got a lot to answer for. I think it's an awful job that she has. Anybody who has to lie for a living, especially for this president, it's an awful job. And I hope I don't know how much longer she's going to last, but this is her trying to justify Trump's behavior in Venezuela right now.
Has been adamant that he is now in charge of Venezuela, but Delcy Rodriguez said the government of Venezuela runs her country, no one else, saying, quote, there's no external agent governing Venezuela. So which one is it?
Let me just be very clear. This is the first time that I've addressed Venezuela from the podium since being back and since the historic and incredibly successful military operation, law enforcement operation conducted by our United States military that you all saw and the world witnessed last week. The skill, the might of the United States military and our country under the leadership of this president is on full display to the rest of the world. And let's just set the record straight. There isn't another military in the world who could have pulled off this operation. There is not another president in the world or in our nation's history who had the courage to authorize such a mission. And I think the world has taken notice that America is truly back. With respect to Venezuela, the Trump administration, led by Secretary Rubio, the vice president, and the president's entire national security team, is in close correspondence with the interim authorities in Venezuela. We obviously have maximum leverage over the interim authorities in Venezuela right now, and the president has made it very clear that this is a country within the United States, the Western Hemisphere, close by the United States, that is no longer going to be sending illegal drugs to the United States of America.
So she's back to the drugs, back to the drugs. So this is the landscape of Venezuela right now. I'll turn that down here so you guys can see. This is right now. These protests have been going on and on since, for the last 10 or so days, since the kidnapping. And what we're looking at here on the ground in Caracas, we're looking at a combination of Chavistas who have fully supported Maduro and Chavez before that for the last 20 years or so. And you have opposition as well. You have opposition against Maduro, against Chavistas, also in the streets together. Why are they together? Because what they're saying is, this is our country. This is our system. This is our government. It's ours to debate. It's ours to fight against. It's ours to own. And you don't bring an empire in and call it democracy, call it something that it's not. So it actually is this is actually something that is bringing these people together, and it's not going to stop. They're demanding the release of their president. He's being held hostage in a fake court, and they want him back. And our media is not going to report on it. Now, let's get to the hard part. And this is the part that I think it's going to be hard to report on. I haven't seen how CNN and MSNBC are reporting on this. We know that Fox is going to spin the crap out of this. But the bottom line is that Trump, his oil plan might not be working out so well. Call to activism tweets out, oil companies are telling Trump they don't actually want Venezuela's oil. Venezuela, heavy crude requires so much infrastructure. So the infrastructure might not be there. And it's a part of the equation that Trump might have missed in this. The entire plan seems to be falling apart. Trump is saying he's trying to save face because Exxon is one of those oil companies that seems to want out. And so because they're telling him he's out, he's saying, I didn't like the response. It looks pretty bad for him that he can't even pull off the thing that they've been saying out loud. What we're doing, we're going in and taking the oil. We don't want China and Russia to have these contracts. We're going to go steal it, and we're going to go pretend it's because it's our Western Hemisphere and it's our right to have it. But that's not working because you need the oil companies to participate. And this is why Trump's in a bad spot right now. So he is trying to justify why he's not doing the deal with Exxon. And this is a big deal if the Exxon deal doesn't happen. It's a huge problem for the U.S. empire's agenda.
Commitments to you, sir? Have any oil companies made commitments to the United States after your meeting on Friday, sir? Which have Exxon, Patagonia?
No, I didn't like Exxon's response. We have so many that want it. I'd probably be inclined to keep Exxon out. I didn't like their response. They're playing too cute.
They're playing too cute. So I guess he assumed he was just going to they're all just going to line up and take the deal. And they're not. So what is the next move for Venezuela? Again, we know that Maduro is going to be dragged out through this court process for a long time, at least a month and a half. It might be longer than that. It might be closer to 3 months. We'll have to see. Keep checking on it. But the Venezuela people uniting together against the empire is the part of the story that the mainstream media misses. Well, they missed all of it. They missed the oil story. They missed the fact that the petrodollar is the thing that we're trying to protect at all costs. And that's the main reason we don't want China and Russia to have these contracts. And no one's going to tell you that on mainstream. So they miss every part of this. But I think the most important part is the people band together. And I would hope that if a foreign nation came into our country and kidnapped Trump or kidnapped whoever, Kamala Harris or Joe Biden or even George W. Bush, whoever they come in and kidnap, I would hope that the people here would have enough morality and principle to know that that's an attack on our entire system. And it doesn't really matter who you voted for. We should be furious about that. And we should unite against that. That's what they're doing in Venezuela. And that's the part, I think that's the most commemorable part of this story. And those Chavistas, they're not, you can't just take them down with one little kidnapping. They're going to be strong, and they're not going down, at least without a fight, but they're all united. And that's the part of the story the mainstream misses. And this is real. Okay, looks like we have a little internet issue here, so I'm trying to work it out. Let's see if we're still on our channels, guys. Please let me know if you're seeing us right now. Yeah, this is I had to kind of switch the connection here. We had a little jerk here on the internet, so I'm trying to figure this out right now. Canceled or disconnected. It could be a little of both, Jungle Jar. Could be a little of both. I hope we finished that segment before this happened. I think we did. So here's what I'm gonna do. I think as long as, let's see, if I'm getting the connection here from the phone, I think we might be able to switch it back over. Luckily, we should be okay here. I'm gonna go ahead and give me 1 second, guys, and I'm gonna bring in our co-host. This is a interesting way to start the first show of the year, but I appreciate you guys sticking by here. Let me just fix some of the settings. I think I feel like we're back. That might have just been a glitch in our internet here. It's AT&T, by the way, guys. AT&T is the what I'm seeing as the guilty party of this right now. Not StreamYard, not YouTube or Rumble, but an AT&T issue. Let's see if we're all back. I'm thinking I can. Okay, let me see if I can bring this back to the normal connection before we start the next segment. Okay, here we go. Okay. Can you guys still got me? I see Jungle Jer. Thank you. Loud and clear. I just went back to the normal connection now, and I think we should be good because I wasn't going to last on the phone connection there. That would have interrupted. Okay. I think we're back. Okay. Great. Whew. I'm going to assume I hope we got to the end of that last one. I think we did. Okay. So we're going to move forward now. Thank you. I wish you go. Thank you. All you guys. And let's go ahead. Let's move on with the show. Without further ado, let's go ahead and bring in co-host for today. You know him, you love him. Please welcome back to the show, Jay Scott.
What's going on, Matt? Happy Thursday, Tuesday.
It's Tuesday.
Got my days mixed up over here, to start out the year. But it's a new year, a lot going on. Glad to be back, though, for sure. So
absolutely, yeah. We just had a little hiccup there. I hope you were able to get in okay. There was nothing wrong on your end, yeah.
No, nothing wrong. Just got my times a little bit mixed up. So, this one might have to be a little bit of a quicker appearance for me than usual because I do actually have to dart in about 35 minutes. So hopefully we can get through 2 stories, in that time. But I will have to leave about 1:30 Pacific.
Okay. We're going to try to do 2 stories here with you. I know you and I have not actually had a chance to talk about any of this just because things have been going and we've been on break and we've shared some stuff, of course, and we're ready to cover this. But I think we need to start with the one that everybody's been talking about because it's worth a conversation with us here. Let's talk about ICE. Let's get to the bottom of what's happening right now. As you guys know, and people obviously you've seen the tapes, we understand that a U.S. citizen was murdered in cold blood by an ICE agent, and to see the response to this, even with the different angles and videos coming out, people seem to be doubling down on their side. It doesn't seem to be changing anybody's mind. People are just in their camps, in their tribes. Are you seeing kind of the same thing from your vantage point, Jay?
Pretty much. Republicans are saying, oh, the protester tried to run the guy over, and Democrats are saying, she was just trying to flee, and the shooting was completely unjustified. And the truth is, in my opinion, should she have accelerated with the ICE guy in the way? That's debatable. If she was alive, she probably would have been on trial for that. But the guy definitely did not need to shoot or kill her because every single shot he fired was when he was not in front of the car. Like, I've seen the step-by-step frame, and the moment he fires that first shot, he was no longer in front of the car. And ICE are supposed to be doing immigration duties. They're not supposed to be doing law enforcement duties. So unless they had a reason to believe that she was an illegal immigrant or something like that, they don't really have jurisdiction over her. So, they're essentially acting like police who have complete immunity for everything that they can do at this point. So it's a sticky situation, but the truth is, like, the more power we give to the police state, the more we're going to regret it. I think that's like the bottom line we should take out of this. So
yeah, absolutely. And again, the doubling down that we're seeing, it's unbelievable. And then Fox's, if you guys want to go and do like a beat down on US citizens and a beat down on anybody that has any questions for police or Fed agents, anybody who even wants to ask a question about accountability, go to Fox and they will be sure to beat you down and double down on it. Here is what we just saw. This is the ICE chief, Bavino. He's actually congratulating the murderer, Jonathan Ross, on killing Renee Good right on Fox News, like right on the air. Here we go.
see that, but you know what? The rhetoric keeps getting ratcheted up, and it gets worse and worse and worse. And you know, now we've had an opportunity to look at that video. There is no ambiguity for anyone with eyes to see that the individual that ended up getting shot in this case had been taunting officers along with her partner for an extended period of time. And then you hear her partner say to drive. She goes in reverse and right in the path of an officer. Now, is that justified use of force? To me, that it's not even a close call.
Why is he completely ignoring the fact that she was turning the wheel to the right? It's 100% documented. She's not actually aiming for the guy. That's clearly clear. If you were going to go try and ram someone over, you wouldn't turn the wheel. So so that is deliberately lying to the audience and saying it's as clear as day. Also, I just want to point out, and this is before this chief, ICE chief, doubles down on the congratulations. What Sean Hannity's doing is he's setting up his audience as if the debate is what kind of person Nicole Good was, right?
And he mentioned there, she was taunting the officer.
Yes.
Because guess what, Matt? Words are illegal now, and words are justification for slaughtering someone, right? And shooting them in the head. So like at the end of the day, you know, like if she was alive and taken to trial, my guess is maybe she would have had like a reckless driving charge or something like that. But if it was attempted murder, she would not have turned the wheel away from the officer. So, you know, but of course she can't go on trial because she's dead. And of course, because of who we have in the White House in the current administration, the ICE officer who shot to kill this person is not going to go on trial either. So we just have a situation where, you know, one person lost their life.
Yeah. And not only is there no trial against him, there's no investigation at all. They took they completely cleared the crime scene. They took the car and they threw it on a tow truck. The windows were still down. They didn't collect any evidence. They didn't interview any witnesses. And then there's that part. Of course, Sean Hannity's going to ignore this part, and we've talked about this here. The part about the ICE agents deliberately kept people from coming and helping. You had an actual physician, and a self-identified physician, being told he was not allowed to go and give help to this person who might still have been alive. We don't know. I mean, we know now it was 3 shots in the head, but the fact that they barricaded that area and said stay back, it's a crime scene. So they're not. So this is the part they're not going to tell you. And I want to just repeat this part, that it's manipulative for Sean Hannity and the Trump administration, people like JD Vance. They all do this where they pretend that the debate is what kind of person Renee Good is. That's not the debate. He started this segment with, it's clear as day she was annoying. It's clear as day her wife was annoying. That's not the conversation. We don't care.
Words.
We don't care about words being yelled at an officer or a Fed agent. That's not the discussion we're having. And if you have that discussion, deliberately not having the real discussion, that is dishonest. So we know this is all dishonest. But let's get to the part where this police chief will congratulate the murderer. Here we go.
Sean, we call that means, intent, and opportunity. Did that individual have the intent? Look at those minutes leading up to the shooting, and we will see what I would consider some pretty important intent. Did that individual have the opportunity? Yes. Did that individual take that opportunity? Yes. A 4,000-pound missile is not something anyone wants to face, especially in a split-second decision-making process in a very already inhospitable environment. Hats off to that ICE agent. I'm glad he made it out alive. I'm glad he's with his family.
Wow.
Not a 0 ounce of sympathy for the dead person. They deserved it. Everything was justified because guess what, Matt? It's a 4,000-pound missile. It's practically Hamas, right? It's practically Hamas inside of our borders. They're trying to bomb our ICE agents. So our ICE agents are at war trying to defend America. That's the picture that they're trying to paint. Not someone who was fleeing the scene, someone who was trying to get away, someone who was trying to remove themselves. Like when I look at the minutes leading up to it, I don't see someone who wanted to kill ICE. I see someone who was upset about ICE trampling on people's individual rights and was using their right to stage a nonviolent protest. Now, the only thing I can say is if you were out there, and you're protesting and you're going to block them, that is your right to do that. But you should recognize there is a chance that you get detained, and trying to run, could wind up making your own situation worse. So I would encourage people to realize, if you're going to put yourself in this situation, just recognize there are possible consequences. And they shouldn't be arresting people for doing that, in my opinion, but they may try to. So you have to be aware that there are possible consequences. Now, that, again, not justifying the shooting, but just telling people, if we're going out there and we're going to do stuff that, riles them up and may inspire a reaction, you should have some expectation of what that reaction could be, and don't give them a reason to execute you.
Yeah. And I just want to take a moment to welcome in Do Dissidents rated the stream. So welcome all you dissidents folks over to the Homeless Left. If it's your first time seeing us, just make sure you not just hit the like, but the subscribe button is important too. So you'll get notified when we go live. And we got a bunch of great content and shows and guests and topics we're going to be doing all year round. So now's it. If you guys are just hearing about us now, a non-tribal approach to news. That's what the Homeless Left is. And we got Jay Scott with us here. We got a bunch of great people coming in and out of the show. We do it like a community, not like a tribe, but a community. There's a difference. So we want you guys to know that community, you can come and go. Isn't that interesting, Jay? You can come and go from a community. A tribe, you have to check boxes to get in the door. And if you say the wrong thing, guess what? You're out. So we don't do that here. We do community. That's what we're about. Anyways, you mentioned the IDF, Jay, as an analogy. You talked about Hamas, or you were indicating the Hamas comparison. And it's interesting you did that, because I was thinking the same thing. And then, of course, we come to find out, look at this. We have, I got to take this one off here. Okay. Look at that. The Jonathan Ross, he spent some time in Iraq, it looks like. It seems like he was there from 2004 to 2005. Well, that makes sense, right? Of course, you're going to hire these vets that were in the middle of a war for Israel. They're going to certainly do that. Well, what does that have to do with the IDF? Well, let's piece this together. Let's see. So, he served in the Indiana National Guard. Okay. Well, what does that have to do with anything? Well, if you ask Grok, hey, did the Indiana National Guard or anyone in part of it ever train with the IDF? Well, yes. In fact, members of the Indiana National Guard have participated in joint training exercises with personnel from the IDF. That's weird. Turns out a lot of our police do that. So, of course, you're going to have ICE agents also do that. And what is that about, Jay? What is it about when you train with the IDF, or you have this method to your training, which is about going into foreign areas, enemy territory? You're not policing your own neighborhoods. You're not protecting the people. You're going in combat mode, constantly in war mode. Yeah. That's the essence of the training. And then you have the let's do the psychological part of it, which is what? Which is we are the victims. We're the ones that have to. Our feelings matter. My feeling, how I felt before I pulled the trigger. Me. That is also part of the training. And the media will elevate that part as well. We have to protect our heroes. We have to protect them.
Exactly.
Right?
And what I want people to remember about that in particular is they've done polls in Israel, and they believe in over 60% of Israeli citizens are under the impression that Gazans and Palestinians should be treated as Amalek. That means every man, woman, and child should be wiped out. So the IDF are arguably the most aggressive of the Israeli population, who are going into Gaza and the West Bank and dehumanizing these people. And our National Guard, our police forces, are being trained by people who have no respect for the humanity of the people they're supposed to be, protecting. Because isn't that what they're supposed to do, like police services and the IDF? They're supposed to be protecting Israeli citizens and Palestinians from violent terrorists. But they don't treat the Palestinians like humans. They treat them, unfortunately, like Amalek in a lot of situations. So if this is the mentality that our police force and ICE and our National Guard is going to be adopting, that means they're being trained by people who treat their subjects like an aggressive force, like an like an enemy combatants. So they're looking at us as enemy combatants. And like, I'll be honest with you, man, I don't know if you have any other the clips that I pulled up, but like, there's a video I sent you, like the last one, an ICE agent ramming his vehicle into what looks like probably a 14, 15-year-old Hispanic kid on a bike. Like, the kid is kind of like limping away. He hops out the truck and he goes and tackles this guy. So why is it that, you know, we're not saying, I mean, I don't know, people are getting more and more outraged, but like, Republicans, unfortunately, are so caught up like in this invasion rhetoric that they are treating people who are US citizens and are here legally, like they're justifying the mistreatment of these people and the elimination of their rights because there are illegal immigrants in the country. So I just want people to remember, part of this though is being done on purpose because they want to manufacture outrage. And I personally believe they're doing this to push everyone from the Republicans to the Democrats for the next election, because what we're going to see is the framing of the next election be, if you vote for Republicans, you're racist, so you got to vote for Democrats, and so we can defeat the Republicans. So let's vote for the party that wants to mandate poison and wants to escalate war with Russia. And if you don't do that, you're racist. That's probably the rhetoric we're going to see, you know, coming out of the next election. But in the meantime, what's happening is Black people with accents and brown people are all being treated as if they're guilty until they're proven innocent.
Yeah, and they're getting a free pass from the administration who's saying there is no accountability for these guys. ICE agents have it the worst, so we have to give them every bit of protection. They can do whatever they want. They're saying, they're doubling down. They're not just saying, well, you know, Renee Good, she was overstepping and we're, you know, there's no crime there but hey, the rest of you guys keep your eyes up. No, they're saying there's nothing they can do that we will hold them accountable. Nothing. So it's telling us, yeah, go ahead.
Just listen to the guy's language. A 4,000-pound bomb was being launched at that ICE agent. That sounds exactly like something that the IDF would be saying to justify what they're doing in Gaza. So this is the rhetoric that's being used on both sides right after, you know, they've, you know, had the buildup over the last few years of describing our immigration crisis as a hostile invasion and a hostile takeover. And if there are, you know, I know we have conservatives that watch us too, you know, if by chance you're worried about the white replacement theory, mRNA injections being given out in majority white countries and the plummeting birth rate, which is partly due to the toxic chemicals we have in our environment that affect our hormones, and the cost of having children now, which is going up, is preventing, you know, a lot of people from having babies in these countries. So if you're worried about quote unquote white replacement, then your focus should not be dehumanizing Black and brown people. Your focus should be, well, asking, well, why are they coming here in the first place? Oh yeah, we're destabilizing their countries. And why aren't people in our countries having babies? Yeah. Those are two questions we should be asking. So don't fall for the divide and conquer, because that's exactly what a lot of people on the right are doing right now. Unfortunately, yeah, they're falling for the divide and conquer.
They're definitely falling for it. And here's that worker you met, the ICE agent that you mentioned that has been detained in Minnesota. Oh, is this the one is this a different one?
No, this is a different one. So this guy is being charged for sexual assault, and that guy actually, you know, I think those charges were filed in October, but there are a fair amount of sexual assault charges and sexual harassment charges being filed against these ICE workers. And we know that the system is going to favor ICE over, you know, the victims, but still there's a sizable percentage of them that are being found guilty and are being taken to trial. So that's another aspect, you know, we have to look at. But I believe it was like one of the last videos I sent you. This looks like it.
Let's do this one for, this is where they just are randomly, they can just take their gun out and point it at a random woman's head. This is the society we're in now. This is what's been created. So he's gonna, this agent's gonna just point it at this woman because he's in a bad mood. And we got to be careful of the moods of ICE agents, because if they had a bad day, you know, they're going to start firing.
Oh shit, he's got his gun. He pulled out his fucking.
Yeah, so this is just, they're escalating their aggression. They understand that they have this protection. You can listen, anything that JD Vance says, anything that Kristi Noem says, anything that Trump says is validating. They can do whatever they want. It's a free pass. So you get your $50,000 sign-on bonus, and then you get a free pass to do whatever the hell you want. It's literally like you're an IDF soldier in Gaza. You don't have any accountability at all. That's what we're dealing with right here. And we warn people, right? People that, oh, we don't care about, what are you, a one-issue voter? Remember that? You're a one-issue voter? No, we want to hold the Democratic Party responsible and the Republican Party responsible for a genocide in Gaza. Well, that's way over there. No, what we do over there ends up here. And this is what we are experiencing right now. And the answer wasn't let's vote for Kamala. The answer is both parties are in on it, and they're going to get us there one way or the other unless we fight against the entire duopoly, which you guys watching, you guys know that's what we do here. But now more than ever, we got to be vocal about this because they are both in on it. Here, I just want to play. I didn't find yours just yet, but this one, this is showing that the people are resilient. People in Minnesota, they are still going out there with the most courage I've ever seen. And you need this right now. You need people to fight back and say, no, get out of here, ICE. We do not want you here. You're terrorists. Get out of here. Oh, wait. No, you know what? This is I mixed this clip up. This is the guy getting pulled out of his car. He wasn't doing anything. He's just in his car. This is just a dude, random dude, U.S. citizen. Check this out.
Knee on the neck, just like George Floyd. And you know, they're doing it on purpose. George Floyd happened in Minnesota. Like, this is why I think they on purpose want us to be outraged and to start acting violent so they can justify the surveillance state. The more ridiculous ICE gets, the more people are going to get upset, the more likely it is people act out during these protests. And then we get situations where, you know, you need Palantir to come in and save the day. So, you know, on the one hand, it's justifying the police state. On the second, for a second note, it's giving the Democrats more ammo in the next election as the quote unquote slightly more sane party. And if, you know, the Democrats' whole line, we know what it's going to be. If you don't vote for us, you're racist, you hate Black people and Latinos. That's what their line's going to be. So,
yeah. Okay, I think we got this one here. This one is certainly worth playing here. Let me cue it up. We're doing this in real time, guys. So yeah, sometimes we don't have
so
everything.
many clips coming out. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, there's too much. There's way too much. Okay, but this one is important, and as you mentioned, this one pretty much sums up the whole thing. This is the story of let me read it here. Hold on. The Border Patrol is taking this young man in Minneapolis, likely a teenager who repeatedly asked to go into his house to show proof of his immigration papers. Of course, they don't allow it, and they just throw him right in. This is I'm not even sure if this is the one you were mentioning. There's so many of them. But let me just get this on the screen here. Here we go. Is it on the screen? Wait, hold on.
No, we still have the guy with the knee on his neck on the screen right now.
Okay.
Yeah, this is another important one. This guy looks like he's maybe about the same age or a little bit older. But yeah, this is important too.
Okay.
Look how small he is. It's a little kid. You can see him pointing to the house.
No.
Like, why are they wearing camo uniforms? Like, isn't that supposed to be to help you disguise yourself? Like what's the point of wearing camo uniforms?
Oh, it's all for show. It's part of the theater.
It's intimidation.
If you're in snow, by the way, if you're in snow and you really want to be hidden, you would be wearing white camo. That if you're actually utilizing the gear for the right reasons. But in this case, it's all part of the theater.
Yeah.
It's supposed to be scary. It's supposed to be scary.
Yeah, kidnap him, put him in the car. He's explaining to them, hey, my papers are right there inside the house. If you just let me go in the house, I can present you with these papers. Doesn't matter. They put him in the car. I saw another video. Guy works at Target. They run into him on his job, which what type of impression does that set for your coworkers? There are people who are just going to assume, oh, wait, maybe he is illegal. Maybe the ones who don't know you. But the guy was a U.S. citizen. They come scoop him up off his job, even though he's telling them he's a U.S. citizen, literally beat him up. You see a picture of him with a black eye, leave him in a Walmart parking lot. Don't even take him back to the job. They leave him in the Walmart parking lot. Meanwhile, the whole time, the guy was a U.S. citizen. So it's not just illegal immigrants who are being mistreated, which still wouldn't be okay. You don't get to beat people up and break the law, for against non-violent people, if they're here illegally. You should still treat them like human beings, but they're not doing that. They're doing it to the illegal immigrants, and they're doing it to U.S. citizens who happen to be the wrong skin color or who happen to have the wrong accent.
And this is about all of us. We're all affected by this, guys. You think because you were born here and you're good to go and you're doing everything, you don't think this can happen to you. Well, the point isn't they tricked you with the immigration thing. They tricked you. They said, it's about illegals. We'll just get the illegals and we'll get everything back to normal. It never goes back to normal. When it comes to the surveillance state, it never goes back to normal. Patriot Act is forever. Homeland Security is forever. It's all forever. And so here we are. Kristi Noem herself put this out. This is very important because this is what it's really happening. Drones represent the new frontier of America air superiority. Under Trump, we're entering a new era to defend our air superiority, to protect our borders and the interior of the U.S. You see how we're not just doing it over there. We're bringing it here. Defend our borders and the interior of the U.S. So with the creation of the DHS program, Executive Office for Unmanned Aircraft Systems and Counter Unmanned Aircraft Systems, Trump continues his historic legacy in developing American dominance. This will help us continue to secure the border and cripple the cartels, protect our infrastructure, and keep Americans safe as they attend festivities and events during a historic year of America's 250th birthday. In other words, it's full-on surveillance, it's full-on supercomputer, it's full-on digital tracking. All of us, everyone. That's what it's about.
And guess what? What I want people to realize, yes, quote unquote, right now, they're using it for immigration. But what happens when a Democrat, comes into office? If you're a conservative and you're watching this show right now, a Democrat is now handed these same powers and they decide to pass a law to, eliminate the Second Amendment, ban all assault rifles. And conservatives want to go out and protest. Do you seriously believe that they're not going to use the same technology on you like the next time that happens? So it's not like this power can only be used by Republican presidents. This power will be used by both Democrat and Republican presidents. It's going to be used against all of us, no matter the cause. So if there's a cause that you care about, then you should be, excited. You should be passionate about protecting, the rights of protesters and human rights. And even if there isn't, I would hope that you have some humanity and you would like for our country to respect other people's humanity. And just have some empathy for people. That empathy goes a long way. And I think we need that to really come together and solve our problems.
Yeah, definitely. You know what? I think I did find this last one. If this is worth the bike, I got the this kid here. Do you want to queue this one up? Okay. Yeah. This is a quick one, but this is an important one. Okay. Here we go. Share this.
This second kid now. I want everyone to remember this. We just had another kid was pointing to the house, said he had his papers in there, and let me just go get the papers to show them to you. Wouldn't let that happen. Now here's the second kid.
Okay, here we go.
Ram the kid. You saw it, right?
Yeah. Oh my God.
Screaming. He's terrified. Is that necessary? Do you have to treat the little kid like that? Even if he is illegal, is that necessary?
Wow.
Is that kid a threat? Do you think that's some violent criminal, like who's about to go, rob some innocent white old lady or something like that? Like, why are you ramming that guy with your car, a 4,000-pound missile? Remember, they were using that language about 4,000-pound missiles. You're launching your 4,000-pound missile at this guy. You hit his bike. It looked like he was limping away, and then you get out and you tackle him in front of a bunch of other kids. Like, and think about what this is going to do to the mentality of the people in these neighborhoods. If you treat people like animals and you dehumanize them long enough, they will act out. They will start to act worse and worse. That's just like human nature. So we have to remind everybody that's what they want. The establishment wants us to act crazy so they can justify a surveillance state to get things under control. So I'd encourage everyone out there, for sure, to get out there and push back, but to be mindful of how you're doing it and to realize that the reason they send out the agent provocateurs to escalate protests and to start burning down buildings is because they want everyone to be violent. So when you protest, it's absolutely essential that you protest peacefully and you do not give them a reason to justify harming you. And be smart about how you protest. Don't just protest randomly and inconvenience people on their way to work. Like, why not go to some of the neighborhoods where some of these politicians live and do peaceful protests over there, and maybe do singing, like sing like songs that represent peaceful ideals or something like that. Like, do the most non-violent thing possible, but inconvenience them. Make it hard for them to get to work. That's just a suggestion. There's so many ways you can do it, but the moment you threaten violence and the moment you give them a reason to crack down, we all lose, because that's what they're aiming for. They want you to get violent. They want you to act out. They want you to burn down your own neighborhoods.
Yeah. One of our viewers pointed out this one. And again, this is coming at us so fast. It's insane to even try to keep up with. But this is a pretty important photo here of Kristi Noem behind the podium with a kind of a tip of the hat to a Nazi slogan: one of ours, all of yours.
Yeah, they put out the Department of Homeland Security itself put out a tweet. It was like one land, one voice, one people or something like that. And apparently it mirrors like the exact phrase, or it's very close to a phrase that, the Hitler regime did use. So clearly they want the left to think like that this is, the new Nazis, and they are actually taking steps that are a little bit reminiscent of some of the things the Nazis did. So does that mean the Democrats are off the hook? No. Does that mean the Democrats are the lesser of two evils? No. But this is what they're setting up.
Yeah, this is exactly. Now, look, I don't want to end this so dark, but people are fighting back, and there's power in numbers. When the towns can get together, when communities can get together and get out, you can drive these people away. There's actually some footage of, I don't have all of it queued. I've seen a bunch. I don't know if you guys have seen it either, but especially in Minnesota right now, they are in the streets, and when the ICE shows up, if there's enough people to outnumber them, they will leave. Here's a fun. I have to put. This is really funny because they're in the ice on ice. Doesn't always work out so well for ICE. So check this one out.
Pussy! Fucking pussy! Fucking pussy! Yeah, fucking pussy!
I saw another video of that. They had Sub-Zero standing on the side, and he did that little freeze right where the guy was walking, and then he slipped. So yeah. That's funny, man. But
there it is.
Guys, go protest, but do it peacefully. Don't fall into their trap. Their trap is they want you to act crazy and to get out in the streets and burn shit down. Don't give them the excuse. That's all I can say.
Yeah. But film the police. Film the police.
For sure.
That's a slogan I pick up from one of my colleagues here. Actually, we just spoke in a while. We hadn't spoken in a while. His name's Chili DeCastro, and he's taken on the police for the last several years, both sides, and he's been just like us. If you challenge one side, you get ousted, and you challenge the other. So he's challenged both administrations. He's been to court several times, been to jail for challenging the police. But he even said, especially now, film the police. Film the police. That's the best way. And you don't have to be as loud as he is, but just get your cell phones on. He always tells people, so get your phones on. If you see something, just film. You don't know what any second they could do something. That body cam footage can be gone instantaneously. So just film. That's the least we can do. That's the least we can do.
For sure. And just remember, guys, if you're going to engage in protest, the more extreme the actions you take, the more likely that there will be some consequences. So this isn't to say that you shouldn't, if you feel called that it's worth it to put yourself at risk and to block their path, know that you may be detained, but don't run from them. Like, don't give them an excuse to say that they felt you were a threat. Like, if you're going to do that, you have to be prepared for the possible consequences, and just know that there is strength in numbers. If there's 100 people blocking a street, that makes it more likely that that is going to be effective than if you, one person, go and take your car and you block their path. So be smart, don't stand up for people, but also don't make the situation worse. And yeah, just be smart in how you protest. That's all I can say to people. Yep. But yeah, we have so many good stories, man, and I really wish that I could stay for these next three. But my times got all messed up today because of the time zones. But I'll be back for sure. On Thursday, so we can pick up on some more of these. But I do have that hard stop that I got to.
Yeah, no worries, man. I just want to say, if you come back Thursday, I can save one of these for you. We have other stuff to cover. Obviously,
or
things go so fast.
You know what? My meeting lasts about half an hour. I'll see if I can come back after that, if that's cool with you. So I don't know how much that'll throw off, like your pace and all that, but should I come back? I'll pop back in after. I'll be back, Matt. We'll
ad-lib it. Okay. No worries. Okay. Jay Scott, everyone. We'll see you back here. Okay. Beautiful. All right. We're going to take a 2-minute, stay with us, guys. I'm going to set up the next segment. We got a lot more homeless left for you guys today. And again, thanks, Due Distance, joining us on the Rumble Raid. We appreciate you guys, and share this out, like, subscribe. And you guys can go hit the bathroom, grab a drink. We're trying to stick to our schedule here the best we can. So when we say 2 minutes, we mean 2 minutes. Well, we mean 2 minutes and change, but we certainly mean 2 minutes, less than 3 minutes. We will be right back with more homeless left for you guys. Non-tribal approach to news. I'm Matt Weinglass. I'll see you guys back here about, let's just call it 2.5 minutes. We'll be right back. All right, we're back. We're back with you guys. If you're just joining us, this is the Homeless Left. This is our season premiere episode. We're calling this Disrupting the Empire. We had Jay Scott on with us before. He'll be coming back with us in a little bit. Let me set that up right. Okay, I think we're good. Yes, we're good. We got a big one to get to right now. And then I think we're going to bring Jay in to do a few more stories with us as well. So yeah, a lot of stuff coming up here. But right now, the one that broke that I think would have totally made top censored news of the week on Thursday, but it's actually deserving of its own time here. Actually, hold on. We have a little tech issue. Hold on. Give me 1 second, guys. For some reason. Okay. Okay. I think we're good. I thought we had a little jump problem on YouTube. I think we're okay on YouTube now. Let me check this. Yes, we are good on YouTube. Speaking of YouTube, we should probably throw up our super chat. Guys, we do take super chats and Rumble rants. They come right to the front of the line as our as Citizen Pendejo. There we go. Yes, Citizen Pendejo, thank you for the super chat. If it's in your cards, play Nico's rolling versus Iran vid. We're actually going to be covering Iran with Jay when he comes back. So I'll see if we can cue that up for that segment. So yeah, appreciate the suggestion. Thanks for the super chat, Citizen. Much appreciated. And guys, you can do super chats on YouTube, or if you're watching this on Rumble, you can do the Rumble rants, and we will cut you to the front of the line. For sure. Okay, let me make sure we're all good to go, and we'll start this new segment right now. We need to talk about Argentina. This is a story that broke a few days ago, and nobody in the Western media was covering this. So let's take a look at what actually happened. We had a major fire that generally you'd hear about, but there's more to it than just a forest fire. So let's break this one down. Here we go. Adam Media reports this a few days ago. Look what Israel just did to Argentina. Really? Israel? Huh. Maybe that has to do with why we haven't heard this. Well, what did they do? Okay, well, he says this is insane. It's not getting any mainstream media coverage at all. Why do Israelis keep burning South America? Wait, hold on a second. Israelis are burning South America. That's quite a claim there, Adam. That's quite a claim. Okay, well, let's see if anyone can back this up. They did this one night they did this one right as they got Trump to take out Maduro. That's not a coincidence. So there might have been a timing issue. Maybe that's why the mainstream ignored this. It was on, I believe it was on the January 3rd that Maduro was kidnapped. This had obviously been in the works. If it was deliberate, it took, you can't just instantaneously do this. You have to plan it. So, well, let's see what actually happened here. Okay. Here's the actual fire in Argentina. Here it is. Looks pretty bad. Looks like reminded of California fires a year ago. It reminds us of Lahaina year before that. Yeah, it's pretty bad. Pretty bad. Here's some local reporting on it. I don't have the translation, but a local reporter is there covering this. You'd think that, yeah, see, this is a local reporter covering. You'd think that there'd be a CNN reporter on the ground, someone like that. Unfortunately, we're not seeing any of that. Now, when we look closer, if you really want to know what's going on, we'll look at the one Western outlet that did report on this even happening, and it's coming from none other than, Combat Anti-Semitism movement. So they decided to put this out a few days after the fact, and they say anti-Semitic wildfire conspiracy theories spread in Argentina, targeting Israelis. Uh-oh, that doesn't sound good. So I guess there's a lot of Jew hating going on here as the Argentinian forests are burning. According to Combat Anti-Semitism, baseless claims blaming Israelis for devastating wildfires in southern Argentina have ignited. I love that. Ignited. Ooh, good use of words there. You get a raise there. Whoever wrote that there, you get a raise. You get a promotion. Ignited a wave of anti-Semitic rhetoric across political and media circles. And I'm not just making fun of that word. That's on purpose. That's a salt on the wound right there. That's not ignited. Come on. Prompting sharp condemnation from Jewish leaders and government officials. Well, of course it did. As wildfires tore through Argentina's Patagonia region over the weekend. Now, Patagonia, for you guys, for historical context, this was a region that was originally offered to the displaced Jews after World War II. And for whatever reason, that deal didn't go through. And I think they took their plan A went through. This would have been plan B, that they go to Patagonia. Plan A was stealing Palestinian land and raping and pillaging and murdering and occupying. That was 1948. That's what the plan A actually worked out for them. But this was their backup. They were supposed to go to Patagonia. And it's a nice forest. There's not too many inhabitants, but it is Argentina land. It's Argentina. That's where it is. So it's consuming roughly 35 square kilometers. I've heard it's gone higher than that. We're about way above 35 square at this point. But nonetheless, a conspiracy theory gained traction online, and on Sunday, the claim alleged that 2 Israelis deliberately started the fires using an Israeli military grenade. Oh, how dare they imply or accuse anybody of starting this thing, let alone Jewish people, because that's a hate crime to even accuse them, obviously. Among these amplifying the accusation was Cesar Milani, a former deputy chief of the Argentinian army. Without naming Israel directly, Milani implied that a foreign state, supposedly identified by locals, was responsible. So locals identified it as 2 foreign people there, and they didn't even mention that it was Israeli. But for some reason, Israel's getting a little butthurt about this, because the claim was paired with an image of Javier Milei waving an Israeli flag. We showed you that on the first page. This is the image, which is obviously an anti-Semitic image, that the president of Argentina would have a Israeli flag. Clearly, that's anti-Semitic for him to have that. Of course, I'm being facetious right now. So that's the coverage. That's the limited coverage. And people on Twitter are noticing this. They're certainly noticing this. Sarah says, happening in Argentina, Israeli tourists set fire to Patagonia. This after Argentina's president repealed a law banning the sale of burnt protected lands. So hold on a second. This is because we're in LA here, and we know that, like, right before the LA fires, you had, State Farm and insurance companies drop people right before the fire. So what did the Argentinian president do right before the fires? He removed a law that would ban outside sale of the land. So now, if you're an outside entity, an outside foreign nation, you're allowed to buy the burnt property. Well, when did he do this? Like a few years ago? When was it? Oh, by the way, Sarah, thanks for adding this in. From Palestine to Lebanon, Syria, Iran, Yemen, Venezuela, and Argentina, Israel spreads death and destruction everywhere. How dare you post that anti-Semitic tweet there, Sarah? Although it is true, you're not allowed to say it. You can think it. You can't say it. We all can think it, but it's a crime to say it. I'm just pointing that out. It is a crime to point out the truth about this, because it makes you a Jew hater for some reason. Okay, we're just trying to play by the rules. We don't want any don't want any problems here. Don't want any unnecessary arrests. Okay, so what do we know about this? So December 9th, the president of Argentina said this publicly.
Cuanto a tierras rurales, se
regarding
libera la
okay, hold
compra.
on. Let me make sure I read this correctly. Here we go. Regarding the rural lands,
En cuanto a tierras rurales, se
the
libera
purchase
la
by
compra
foreign
por
private
parte
individuals
de
is now
privados
allowed.
extranjeros. También se elimina la
The
prohibición de
prohibition
cambiar la
on
actividad
changing the
productiva
productive use
del
is
campo por
removed
30 o
for
60
30
años
to
tras un
60
incendio,
years
una
after
ley
the
del-
fire is also removed. Wow. This was when? December 9th. Exactly 1 year. Oh, I'm sorry, 1 month before the fires. Imagine that. Wow. That's incredible. What incredible timing. Kind of reminds you of Larry Silverstein taking out the fire insurance on the Twin Towers 1 month before 9/11. Interesting how this works. These guys, these powerful people, they have an instinct. They got an instinct. But it's good for Israel. I mean, good for Israel. And you're not allowed to question it or you hate Jews. But man, it's really good. Bryce M. Lipscomb reports here, Argentina is erupting in protest as the people chant, kick out Israelis, kick Zionism out. The people of Chile, they've aligned with Argentina. They're pissed as Israeli tourists set fire to Patagonia. This is Zionism reckoning. Okay, well, let's check out the protest. Actually, before we look at the protest, because I want to play the protest for you, because it's pretty badass that they're in the streets for this, and they're calling it out. They're not just saying, oh, somebody did this. They know exactly who did it. I want to let this podcaster break it down. Her name is Peyton Kelly. She's self-identified as a right-wing conservative who basically just says she calls shit out that she sees. And I like that this is going out to a conservative audience. They need to see this.
That Patagonia, Argentina is in flames right now. This gets so much weirder and deeper than you can even imagine, so just buckle up. This is Argentina's based president, Javier Milei, total Zionist puppet, puts on the tiny hat and kisses the wall. Exactly 1 month ago, on December 9th, President Milei announced that foreigners can buy Argentinian land and develop it after fires. Now, as of January 9th, Patagonia is on fire. They're not even denying the fact that these fires were intentional, and you'll never guess who was caught setting them.
Una hora te vas de ahí. Una hora te vas de ahí. Estos son los hijos de puta que nos prenden fuego, la concha de su madre. Llévateles y se van a la mierda.
There it is.
Me acabo de dar toda la vuelta porque vi una nube de humo y salía.
Yeah, that was an Israeli tourist, which is actually very common in Argentina and Chile because IDF members get sent there right when they get out of the military by NGOs that want them to map the land.
Now that part is very important. Very, very, very important to know that this part of the world, Argentina, works as a place that people can go for sanctuary. These are particularly, and this is paid for by the state. IDF soldiers have sanctuary in Argentina. So when they finish committing all their war crimes and crimes against humanity and murdering children, when they're done, when they get it all out of their system, they've murdered enough kids, they can go have sanctuary in Argentina. So it would make sense that if Israel can figure out a way to take that property, take that land, they do it. Why wouldn't you do it? Why wouldn't about any of Israel's history of taking land? Why would that not apply to the place that was supposed to be the plan B after World War II of relocating the Jewish community in Europe? Why would this not be a consideration at all? So yeah, so continue. This is good. This is good. This is going out to a conservative audience. They need to see this.
They've been caught using military equipment while they're doing this, like radios and satellites that they then quickly hide once anyone approaches. They've also been setting fires to these places for years, which makes it even stranger that Milei would pass a law saying that foreigners can buy up land after it's been set on fire. They've been finding Israeli grenades near where these fires originated. They've also been finding busted pipes for the water sources used to put the flames out. And Netanyahu just happened to have a picture of Argentina with him at his last trip to the White House. Argentinian locals know exactly.
Let's stop there. A picture of Argentina. So we talked about this fifth. You guys remember the fifth visit to the White House that Netanyahu did? There was an order of operation. There were bullet points that needed to be discussed. It was probably the most important meeting that he had out of all five. Is that fifth one, because you have damage control for two incidences, right? You have Epstein files. No one's talking about Epstein. That was by design. So this is Netanyahu's checklist. This was his checklist coming to DC. No fun and games. Probably left his laundry this time. Probably, he had the one lunch, the publicized lunch in the White House. But he got right to business, and he said, damage control for Charlie Kirk, damage control for Epstein. He said, time to move in on Maduro in Venezuela. He said, we're gearing up for Iran, and while we're at it. Fifth point on the docket. Fifth point is let's grab some land in Argentina while we're at it. So there is a boom, 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 boom. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and it seems all five have been hit. So let's hear the rest of this summary. And again, this podcaster, it's very important that it's getting out to her audience as a conservative, religious conservative person with a following that would need to know this information, because there's not, how else are you going to get this information? You're not watching Homeless Live. You're not going to get it on mainstream. So this is very good that she's doing this.
Exactly what's happening. They know that they are under Zionist occupation and that Israel is trying to steal their land and their country.
Este lugar para nosotros es el paraíso y nos quemaron el paraíso, loco. Nos dejaron, arruinaron todo. Y acá lo que pasa es que están queriendo venderle la Patagonia a todos los judíos, loco. Esto se sabe hace un montón. Acá todo el mundo lo sabe. Está lleno de israelitas, está todo el mundo comprando las tierras. Nadie hace nada.
Estamos sorprendidos de que nos prendan fuego a la Patagonia. Sabemos que es a propósito, lo tenemos recontra en claro que hay poderes que están del lado, tienen un interés inmobiliario, tienen interés minero, y es algo que ya últimamente lo hacen en nuestra cara y ni siquiera lo disimulan.
The claims that there is a plot by Israel to take over Argentina and turn it into basically their second base is not even close to being a new thing. Plan Andania started being discussed in the 1970s and of course has since been labeled as an insane far-right conspiracy theory. The theory alleges that Plan Andania is a covert Zionist Israeli scheme to conquer and declare a second Jewish state specifically in southern Patagonia, emerged in the 1970s in Argentine far-right circles. In 1971, ultra-nationalist economist and professor Walter Allende popularized it through pamphlets and articles in magazines like Cabedillo, claiming Zionists were secretly buying land to undermine Argentine sovereignty and establish Andania, a mashup of Andes and Patagonia. There was even a documentary that was made about this Zionist takeover, and they were fined $40,000 for being anti-Semitic.
Of course they were. Of course they were. That's you got to set people straight, and you're not allowed to report on this stuff. As we said, even discussing the idea that there were two Israelis that were caught on camera doing this, setting these fires. You can't say that, or there's serious punishments, as we have seen previously. So with that said, this is the protest happening right now in Argentina, and Chile is involved as well, and they're not being quiet about what they're protesting. They're specifically protesting this foreign nation that seems to want to come in and take their land. What they're saying, volume here. What they're chanting is kick out Israelis, kick Zionism out. So again, these stop anti-Semitism groups can report all they want that we have an anti-Semitism problem, that the people of Argentina and also the people of Chile, they all just seem to be born to hate Jews for some reason. Their entire forest burns down, and they just can't stop with the Jew hate. I guess that's the way they report it. And again, that's the only Western media outlet that's reporting this. And they're reporting it as an anti-Semitism story. Meanwhile, the people are in the street right now. This is happening right now. Nobody is reporting on it, except for, people like us and far right wingers, I guess, apparently are reporting on it, which is great. So this should be coming from everywhere. The people are furious. They're going to try and hold the president responsible for making this deal on December 9th, a month beforehand. One more thing before I end this segment, one more thing to point out, which is of note, and we saw this on Reddit, and I think it is important to just mention that someone on Reddit drew this connection. It's not any factual assessment, but it's just something we need to look at as far as lineage and names go. But what is the draw? I've had this discussion with folks from RT and from TRT World. We talk about this. What is the obsession Javier Milei has with Israel? What is his obsession? Why is he waving that flag like it's his own flag? What about it is he so personally drawn to? Is there a deeper connection between him and Benjamin Netanyahu than we've been told? And you look at the father, Milkowski. Milkowski is the last name of Javier Milei, his father, Milkowski. Same name that Benjamin Netanyahu had, and there's his father, also Milkowski. Very interesting. Very interesting. Now, can we prove any lineage? Not really, but it's not a common name. It's not a common name at all. So there might be just something there. And he goes on and just asks this. It's just a question. He's just asking that he came across the side-by-side image comparison. And then on the left hand, you saw it's the Milkowski name on both sides. So does that play a role in this, or is that a coincidence? At first glance, it does seem like a visual coincidence, but the more this Reddit user looked through it, it started to feel like a breadcrumb trail, and similarities go beyond the name. Milei has taken a surprising aggressive pro-Israel stance. This is the part we don't get, like, why so heavy? why so obvious? He's been so obvious about it. You maybe want to be more subtle, but he's really been like this the whole time. Almost like he wishes he was born there, he could claim to be Israeli or be a Jew. Like, it seems like that's what he's going for. He's openly discussed moving Argentina's embassy to Jerusalem, strengthening ties with Israel. So they both rose together to major international promises around the same time during an era marked by ideological realignment and geopolitical chess moves. So this Milkowski name, it is not common. As I said, it's not a common name. So the odds of these two powerful world leaders, both aligned with similarly ideologically, geopolitically, coming from families with nearly the exact same surname across continents, it's something at the very least deserves a kind of a deeper look. And you guys know we follow lineage all the time. We look at our own president's lineage and we see why the hell they all happen to be part of the same skull and bones. They got all part of the same. They all come from the same shit. It's crazy because you think, oh, you want to believe that an outsider can come in, Obama can come in and be that guy that wasn't part of that. And then you look at the lineage, you go, shit, he was part of it too. So it all seems to trace back to this. So at the very least, it's something to look at as far as we're trying to get that why. Why is Argentina doing this? It's something that, again, it was a plan B back in World War II, post-World War II, that was going to be the place that the European Jews relocated. They went with plan A, much better idea. Get that biblical place, align with that, the new Christianity, what do we call it? What do you call it? The religious right Christians that will then align with the Jewish backstory. You redo the Bible, you take out, you do the King James Bible, you take Palestine out of the map, you put in Israel. It was pretty beautiful. It was pretty good plan A for them to have. But make no mistake, all eyes are on Argentina. All eyes are on Argentina except from here. We're not looking at it. The U.S. is ignoring this. Europe is ignoring this. Israel's making this into an anti-Semitic issue, and that's what we got. So let's keep our eye on that. And again, power to the people for getting in the street and calling BS on these wildfires. They clearly were not wildfires, and justice needs to be done. Okay, that's it for the Argentina. Let's go ahead, and I'm excited we're able to do this because we had some little curveballs today, but we're back on strong. We're going strong now, guys, and let's go ahead and bring back to the show our co-host, Jay Scott. Welcome back, my friend.
Thank you. Sorry for all the timing confusion, but I'm back, ready to pick back up where we left off. And real quick, just to add the icing on the cake for that last story, I don't know, and I don't think we've covered too much about the Somaliland story, but Israel had just recognized a new territory that's part of Somalia to create kind of like a breakaway state. They actually seem to want to claim land from all over the world at the moment. And there was also a plan that was drawn up decades ago to, quote unquote, relocate some Israelis to part of Somalia, because apparently the part that's trying to break away right now is a little bit elevated and mountainous. And inside the declassified documents, you even see it specifically saying this part of Africa has a great climate specifically for Europeans because it's not as hot, as other parts of Africa. So, the amount of places that they've considered taking over is actually pretty hilarious. So, and when you consider how small the population, of people who identify as Jews are around the world today, it's like kind of mind blowing that they think they need Palestine, they need Patagonia, they need Somaliland, they need all these different places in the world where people already live. Those people should leave so a small group of people can come in over there. But, Argentina is a really funny story because there's also a lot of connections between the actual Nazis in Argentina too. In fact, there's a lot of theories that Hitler didn't die and he lived out the last of his days, over there in Argentina. A lot of local, legends going on about that. So who knows, what's actually happening. But I can tell you, in my opinion, the Nazis and the Zionists, they all work hand in hand. So it doesn't surprise me that they all are planning to, go to the same territories.
Yeah. Citizen Pendejo followed up on this after the super chat and said, "Man, that was Netanyahu's sixth visit to. Was it the sixth, Jay? I thought it was the fifth, but did he come back a sixth time?
I don't remember. That's his second home. That's his favorite hotel. Like over here. Washington is. White House is where one of his vacation homes, you could say. So
yeah. Well, okay. Well, keep an eye on that, of course. Let's move on. I think the story we wanted to get to today with you for real was Iran. Let's get into Iran. I know. I mean, man, there's a lot here. So let's start with. I'm going to start with Caroline Leavitt's little excuse about what's happening there, because we know, of course, we're not going to get the real story from the ground. This whole thing is contrived, right? Iran is another manufactured consent of the American people that we need to go in and save the day. It's the same playbook all over again. We are seeing it with Venezuela. We're seeing it start with Iran again, and people are falling for it. I don't know how people are falling for this, Jay, but this is Caroline Leavitt doing her best to tell us that we mean business. Trump means business right now, and that we care about the people in Iran, Jay. We care about them.
Tell you is that what the Iranian regime is saying publicly is quite different from the messages they are sending to the United States and the Trump administration privately. President Trump, as for him, he has always expressed that diplomacy is the first option, always has been, always will be. However, he is unafraid to use the lethal force and might of the United States military if and when he deems that necessary. And nobody knows that better than the Iranian regime. The greatest leverage the regime had just several months ago was their nuclear program, which President Trump and the United States military totally obliterated through Operation Midnight Hammer. And so what President Trump will do next, only he knows, so the world will have to keep waiting and guessing, and we will let him decide. I'm certainly not going to broadcast any future options or decisions from the president on national television.
We don't have to guess, Jay. We don't have to guess at all. We know the drill. Trump says, "Hey, I'm open to some deal. I'm open to some talks," knowing full well that those talks are going to be canceled because there's already an operation in place that goes well beyond any negotiation that he could even do. So we're not going to get the talks. He said it casually, like, well, yeah, we'll do it, but no, it's not actually happening. So we know that. But like, how did we get to this point where this urgency that we need to go in and do something about the Iran regime, as if there's something unique happening now that wasn't happening before? All those shots we just saw, those are fake. Those are staged from outsiders to come in and pretend that Iranians are against their government. Percentage-wise, it's like 1%. You can get a nice gathering together, but well, Jay, you gave your thoughts on this, but to me, it seems like that they're focusing on a very small amount of Iranians that are against their government when over 1 million of them have been in the street. They don't cover this. Over 1 million have been in the street, being anti-emperor, anti-U.S. emperor, and anti-Israel, pro their government. What's your take so far?
Yeah, there's a few different angles to this story. So someone can have an issue with the way their government is being run and have complaints about the economy and go out and protest against how the economy is being run without wanting their government to be overthrown. Like, that doesn't necessarily mean they want America to come in and to destroy their country. It means that they want the government to reconsider some of the economic policies they have, and they want the government to try to get a better handle on inflation. So there are legitimate economic issues that Iran is going through that are partly caused by the sanctions that we've had on them, for about a decade now. So, like at the end of the day, there were some protests that were happening, and then they got hijacked by, honestly, Mossad agents who want to overthrow the Iranian government. Mike Pompeo even came out and said, Happy New Year to all of the Iranians who were protesting and the Mossad agents alongside of him.
Let's get that one up on the screen. He's giving it away. Mike Pompeo's giving away the playbook. Saying on one hand, saying, the Iranian regime's in trouble because the people are coming out, right? Bringing in mercenaries is the last best hope. Riots in dozens of cities and the Bashil under siege, Mashhad, Tehran, Zahand, next up, Baluchistan. But 47 years of this regime, Oh, he's trying to do some number game with the 47. Such bullshit. And then here's where he gives it away. Happy New Year to every Iranian in the streets. Also to every Mossad agent walking beside him, which pretty much he's spilling the beans and saying this entire thing is Mossad, because that's how it works. They show up to create whatever incident they need to create to manufacture consent.
Yeah, and I didn't send this over to you. I should have, but earlier today, now Iran is catching people coming across the Pakistani border, like carrying American-made weapons and Starlink ports and all that. So there's so many things that are happening right now. But essentially, what we're trying to do is collapse the government from the inside. More than likely, that's going to fail. And then once that fails, they're going to go in with the rest of the guns to try to overthrow the government. But this is, a particularly interesting story because, Turkey has actually come out and called for no intervention to happen. And we've seen Israel create a quote unquote alliance with Cyprus and Greece to counter Turkey's influence. So if something does start up again with Iran, is it possible that Turkey somehow gets involved? I'm not saying it'll happen, but you're seeing, Turkey come out and make stronger statements than they normally would. And you even have both Saudi Arabia and Iran, being part of the BRICS alliance now. And now Saudi Arabia has a quote unquote military alliance with Pakistan. So there's so many moving parts. And within each of these countries, there's the establishment, there's grassroots forces, there's counter forces. So you have parts of Pakistan that are going to work with Israel, some of the extremist parts that are being funded by them. And then you also have parts of Pakistan that absolutely despise like Israel. And if I'm not mistaken, I believe Pakistan is one of the countries that doesn't even recognize like Israel as a state. So, but you have these pockets where Israel is funding terrorism over there and providing them with weapons and guns. So, and they actually have one of the biggest armies in the region. So this can go so many different ways. And one thing that is for sure, though, Iran has said publicly, if America comes in and bombs them, all of our bases in the area are fair game, and they're instantly going to launch, like 5,000 missiles at Israel or something like that. So they're saying they're going to escalate more quickly than they did last time if they start getting hit again. So I don't know if, I assume Trump has it in his head that he's going to go through with it. More than likely, another thing we could consider is maybe Trump will try to pull the same thing he did with Maduro over in Iran and pay off people within Iran to, betray the current government. But that'll be more difficult because Iran is more organized. It's been around for a longer time than the current establishment in Venezuela. And, great job. These are the counter protesters who are much higher in number than the protesters who were rioting, and looting out there. And I even saw, I don't think I sent it to you, but I saw videos of the protesters literally burning down mosques with children inside. So these are the people that Trump is saying are peaceful protesters whose rights need to be protected. The guys who were burning down places of worship.
Yeah. I mean, the timing is so unbelievable, Jay, because I just like the fact that we have these short attention spans. Trump voters have the same short attention spans that Biden voters had 4 years ago, but it's this idea that it's time to get in line for the next thing with no regard that you're contradicting the last thing you just said about how we protect the police and we have to let them do their job. And then like you said, these protesters are doing horrible things. We know that they are infiltrators. We know that they are saboteurs, but even if they weren't, why would we be making our point to try and get the base riled up that we need to protect these people who are doing these horrible things, whether they're organic or not, which we know they're not. But even if they were, why would we? How can you turn on a dime like that? And then, of course, the footage you guys are seeing right now. This is the millions in the street that are not fighting the government in the sense that they are saying
they're supporting them.
They're saying no to the empire, no to the U.S. and Israel, infiltration. Stay out of our country. We got our country's back, even if we're against certain parts of it. And we have the same thing here. We have people, you can be against different regimes or administrations, but an outside entity coming in. The people are in the street for this. So our Western media is deliberately not showing this. Luckily, we're getting it from other places. You know, we have these shots here. Here's some actual interviews. Let me see if I think we might have some translations on these ones. But these are the people that are out on behalf of their country, which they have pride in. This is our country. You stay out of it. You have a message for Trump regarding the nonsense. I don't even consider Trump a human to even talk to him. He can go die. I'm a protester, but the goal is to open the path for the filth, the Zionists and their pups to step in. Then no, I'm not a protester. No matter how many problems we have with one another, but to take advantage of us and exert power, no, we remain here and we will sacrifice our lives for this country. No country can touch my Iran. Either they were fooled or they came from elsewhere, the rioters. So they're onto it. They say, we know these rioters are not even, they came from somewhere else. Mm-hmm. We are the people of Tehran.
So yeah,
we firmly stand behind it. Go ahead.
Yeah, like you can have a problem with policies in your government and protest those policies without wanting the overthrow of your government. So they're reinforcing exactly what I said just now. You can keep going. Sorry.
Yeah. If someone truly belongs to this homeland, if they are from within this country's borders, they would not disturb the peace of this society. I mean, that's not a foolproof point, because obviously we know people can do that. But I think it goes back to my point, Jay Lee. Even if it was people organically doing this that were from there, how are we able to use that as an excuse that we're going to go into when do we ever care about anyone in another country and protecting them, especially people who are being violent? It doesn't actually make any sense. But these guys are calling it out and saying it doesn't feel like it's coming from inside. It's coming from the outside. And we know how to do that, Jay. We got really good at it over these last few months. We know how to call out infiltration, and you want to call it out when you see it. And it sounds like they're doing that here. Let's see if there's might be a little more of this. They lack the courage. We will not give 1 inch of our soil. Our lives are for our leader and this country. The writers, should be severely punished. Look, we fought for 8 years and we didn't even have barbed wire. Our situation now is this is not Venezuela to play a feudal game under a cover of night. Oh, so they're comparing to Venezuela here. I think you're right that they're even in a stronger position. Don't kid yourself. We'll not be tainted by these. Our lives are all for the leader of this country. Some people abroad uttered some nonsense. What's your opinion? Like our leader said, in your dreams, may my life be sacrificed for our leader. So these people are all in. Similar to the Chavistas in Caracas in Venezuela, they're all in. They're saying, I give my life to my country. And that's regardless of their own politics or whether they like their leader or not. They hate us more, right? I think that's the lesson here. However they feel about their own leadership, they hate us even more.
And what I want people to remember is, we talk about how quote unquote brutal the Iranian government is, but our top ally, or one of our top allies over there, Saudi Arabia. And again, I'm not making a judgment on what they should or shouldn't be doing, but if the measure is how many people the government executes, last year, Saudi Arabia, I just pulled this up. Last year, Saudi Arabia did 356 public executions in 2025, which is actually the record high for that country, with the majority of those public executions being for non-lethal drug offenses. Nearly 250 of those were only for non-lethal drug offenses. So, and I don't hear any talk about America trying to go in and stop the brutal Saudi Arabian regime, right? So, and they don't really have meaningful elections over there. They're run by a king. At least in Iran, they do have elections over there. Now the candidates have to be approved and vetted, by Khamenei, I forget what his name is. So there is a strong religious component to it. I'm not going to say it's a perfect democracy, but let's not pretend that Iran is this unique evil who's the worst actor like over there in the region, because it's simply just not the case. And again, I'm not making any judgments about how Saudi Arabia wants to run their society, but 250 executions for for drug offenses, I mean, I don't know. That does seem a little bit extreme to me. If drugs are something that people are willingly taking, again, they're illegal. I get it, but you know, they're also willingly taking these drugs. So,
just to clarify, cross-checking the estimate, and these are just estimates, but according in context, the breaking of the enormous pro-Iranian government demonstrations in cities across Iran, the reports are estimate of millions on the street. And that is up from whatever couple thousand they found that were, you know, challenging the government, and they were infiltrating that. We saw Pompeo talk about Mossad agents next to them, like everybody working together to coordinate this. It's just minuscule compared to the millions that are being estimated that are against the empire. And that's the part our mainstream is not going. They're not missing it. They're not accidentally getting this wrong. Their job is to tell the story that needs to be told to manufacture consent.
But here's the thing, they don't care about the facts, right? Because remember, before we went into Venezuela, first it was fentanyl, then it was cocaine, then they were like, never mind, it's just about the oil. They stole oil from us, so we got to go take it back. But, you know, the Trump supporters who were in favor of that, they don't talk about those contradictions. And it'll be the same thing, you know, in Iran. They say, oh, there were all these protests. You know, they don't care about the fact that there were more counter protesters coming out in support of the government. And, you know, like Trump's press secretary, Caroline Levitt, like comes out and says, oh yeah, we destroyed the nuclear program during the last bombing, but they didn't. Like, you know, all the reports came out that there was some damage to the facility, but they couldn't confidently say that they actually destroyed all the uranium they had and that the nuclear program is ended. In fact, the Iranians said they're continuing their nuclear program. And then, you know, Trump says that he wants to negotiate with them, but he put out this quote unquote list of demands of where they can start the negotiations. And it first of all says that they're not allowed to have any nuclear program. That means they can't have civilian nuclear energy at all. And they cannot have a ballistic missiles program. That means they can't defend themselves. That means you're starting out your negotiation in a place that is entirely unrealistic, because what sovereign country is going to agree to not being able to defend themselves at all? Like, every other country can develop a ballistic missiles program to defend themselves if they want, but you want Iran to agree to that to start the negotiations? So they're not being honest. It's not a serious offer that they're putting out there. It's just an excuse because they want to be able they want Trump supporters to be able to say Trump really didn't want to go to war. He did everything he could to avoid it, but the Iranians, they were just unrealistic, and you couldn't deal with them, so he had to do what he had to do. So they're setting up this narrative that they can say Trump was forced into going into war.
Yeah. And now I want to full circle this back to Pompeo, because this is important. If you guys know, Pompeo was a huge part of Trump's first term. And, you know, this was a guy that we thought, that a lot of people thought there was a chance at least that Trump would stand up to him the second time around. But instead, no, he doubled down and took on people that were even 1,000 times worse than this guy. But he's pretty bad. This is him. I got a clip from him back in 2019 during Trump's first term explaining our foreign policy in Iran. And if this sounds familiar, guys, it's because it is, because this is our foreign policy. And it's not just Trump, it's every president. This is what we do when we want to destabilize another nation. You sanction the crap out of them. And the reason you do that is why? He's going to explain it in this interview about why we do that. Because we have this crazy idea that the people of Iran, like we think also in everywhere else, Cuba, Venezuela, you name it, the people of Iran are going to be so hurt by not being able to live nice lives because of us. We're destroying their lives on purpose, so they will just get up enough courage and enough neighborhood might and just get together and go take down their own leader. This is what they think will happen if we just so this is him telling us that, and so you guys understand that this is not true and not something that actually makes any sense, but understand that we are the cause yet again of destabilizing another region in order to then say, hey, look at how chaotic it is there. How did that happen? Let's go save the day. He's going to tell us this 2019. Here you go.
The U.S. has been applying a lot of pressure to Iran, withdrawing from the nuclear deal last year, also reimposing sanctions. Have you seen any sign that this pressure is pushing Iran to renegotiate with the U.S.?
Things are much worse for the Iranian people, and we're convinced that will lead the Iranian people to rise up and change the behavior of the regime.
So that's what you're hoping, that these sanctions are going to help push the Iranian people to rise up against the regime and overthrow it?
The sanctions are designed to deny them the wealth and resources they need to continue to create havoc throughout the Middle East and, frankly, throughout the world.
Wow. I mean, how many times do we have to hear this playbook, Jay, that never, ever works? I mean, even when he started that answer, we are convinced that the sanctions will cause the Iranian people to stand up. We're convinced. So how did that conversation go? It's the same one every time. It's, hey, guys, you think this will do it? You think this will do the trick? This will push the people to do their own takedown, their own coup of their own leadership. Does it work here? Is that what they're trying to get us to? Do they really believe this? I guess my question, Jay, do they really believe this garbage coming out of their mouth? It never works. But how could they believe it? Because if they did, then they would think the same of us, right? Make our conditions so bad that we rise up and do a coup on our government. So he can't possibly believe this is true, right?
It's all to construct the narrative. You're right on the money, Matt, in pointing that out, because they don't honestly believe, in my opinion, that they will be able to fully overthrow the government. But what it will do is cause the government to push back against violent protesters. So when the government pushes back against violent protesters that are framed as peaceful protesters, in the West, we can go in and say, we're saving the day. Guess what? The Iranian people want us to come in as liberators. They're never going to play the clips from the crowd that you just played. They're just going to show images of the clashes between violent protesters and Iranian forces that are trying to get the riots under control. And then they're going to say, look how oppressive these guys are. We got to go in and we got to save them. And I did actually just forward you exactly. So a link, and you're seeing some very interesting dynamics play out in the Middle East right now. Like Saudi Arabia and apparently some other Middle Eastern countries are trying to pressure Trump not to hit Iran, when historically Saudi Arabia and Iran have been rivals. There was a long time where we thought a war was going to start between Saudi Arabia and Iran, and now they're both part of BRICS. And you're seeing the tension between some of the Israel supporting Gulf states start to rise up, because even though Saudi Arabia has traditionally been thought of as a behind the scenes ally of Israel, their strongest supporter in the Middle East is definitely the UAE. And now Israel and the UAE are on opposing sides in the Yemen civil war. So I don't know if you've caught that recently, but the UAE forces, the UAE-backed group is going to war against the Saudi-backed group in Yemen, and then both of them have their own issues with the Iran-backed group over there. But it seems like the Saudi and the Iran-backed group in Yemen are starting to come together to fight the UAE-backed group. So I don't know how this is going to play out. I don't know how serious Saudi Arabia and Turkey are about defending Iran, but they have a military alliance with Pakistan, which has the largest military in the Middle East after Turkey. So this could set the region into a really big war, depending on what happens. So, because if we have bases in all these different countries, eventually some of these bases may start to become targets. Like Iran has said, they're going to fire off missiles at the American bases. So if our bases are in the countries that are telling America not to go to war with Iran, I don't know how that plays out.
Yeah, there you have it. This is another manufactured consent of American people getting behind yet another regime change war. I'm waiting to hear what Tulsi Gabbard's going to have to say about this one. Not just joking. Obviously, that's not going to go well if she.
They don't even invite her to the meetings anymore. Like from what I've been hearing and what I've been reading, they've completely shut her out of the conversation. So I guess she's just there because she was known as an anti-war voice in the past. She's there to give the impression that the Trump administration is anti-war, but they don't even invite her to the meetings anymore. She's literally there just for show, and she's allowing her name to be used in a despicable fashion, in my opinion. So either way, because she hasn't separated herself from it, you have to put some of the blame on her, because she's part of the administration and she knows she's being used, and she's allowing herself to be used, even if she isn't the one drawing up the plans and saying, let's do this.
Yeah. I mean, so much more happening here in this region. Every second, there seems like there's another part that's breaking out. So we're trying to stay up on it. And we do know that Trump has definitely pulled any possibility of having a resolution talk, peace talk. It's not happening. He just said that was just for show.
Yeah.
When we know that Israel wants to detonate nukes on Iran. They can't wait to do it. Is that something? Let me ask you, is that something that seems in our trajectory right now, that we will see Israel launch any attack on their own, with or without us? Or Trump can pretend he was part of it or not part of it, but is that something that they're gearing up to do? And I'm hearing things that it would be this month, before the end of January.
Yeah, definitely. You know, at the end of the day, I want to believe that they wouldn't launch a nuclear attack, because that could set off a chain of events that literally destroys the world. And part of me doesn't think the elites want to live underground, you know, like for the next 100 years. So I want to.
They're certainly buying a bunch of that underground property. I mean, they're building it.
Do they really want to live underground? I hope they don't. So this is my hope, that they're just doing that to make us believe they're willing to go that far. So my hope is that it won't be a nuclear war. But you know, the truth is, Israel cannot defeat Iran by its own. You know, they may start the war, and then obviously we're not going to let Israel, you know, go into it by themselves and get destroyed. So whether or not they're doing that on their own, or we're using them as an excuse, like, who knows if the tail is wagging the dog or the dog is wagging the tail. I don't know what's really going on and who's controlling who. But what I can say is that if Israel starts it, we're not going to let them get beat without jumping in their favor, because that's what we're there for. We're their attack dog. Either that, or they're our attack dog, they're our excuse, and we just pretend we keep getting drawn in. So I don't really know what's going on, but what I can say is that other countries in the region are lining up against Israel, and the Abraham Accords don't really seem to be holding up the way they had originally been intended to do. So, you know, I wish I could say I know what's coming, but what I can say is that if we do see, you know, a defeat of Israel, if we do see Israel start to go down, and they don't use the Samson option, which they've arguably been holding the world hostage with for the past few decades, then, you know, it does seem like there's for sure a viable path to peace in the region, because most of the problems, at least right now, you know, do seem to be starting, you know, with Israel. So hypothetically speaking, could this be a rug pull, you know, on Israel, where they get defeated, and then, you know, the powers that be, you know, switch, you know, their attention to, say, Turkey and Saudi Arabia, and have them pick up if Iran takes a lot of heat, you know, during this battle? Possibly. So maybe that's the rug pull, and then it's no longer the talk about the Zionists and the secret societies are back in charge. I don't know. It could go so many different ways, but what I do know is that a lot of these secret societies, you know, do have ties to other regions, you know, other countries in the region. And if you set up a good cop, bad cop situation, you could see a rug pull happen for the Israeli government. But I don't know. They're involved in so many different things. I don't know if it's going to be a complete rug pull or how it's going to happen, but I can say Israel is very vulnerable in the position they're in. So, and don't forget, they have massive protests over there right now themselves against their own government. And a lot of people want to see Netanyahu like gone over there too. So yeah, there's a lot of,
and that's encouraging. That's encouraging to see that the people in Tel Aviv, they're protesting their own, I guess they're, don't even call it a draft, but they have obligation to join the IDF. They don't want to. They're like, we're done with this thing. And there's a bunch of them in the street, and of course, Western media isn't covering that one either. But it's good. It's good to see these protests against the empire. It's been kind of our theme today, Jay, just the protesting, the challenging, the disrupting of the empire. Hard for people to see it when they're on the empire side and they're not looking out, because it takes some effort to look out there and see what are other people seeing. Because being on this side, we're almost like the least in danger, even though we are in danger, obviously, here on the on our home front. But yeah, we have to take ourselves out of it and see how the rest of the world responds to this. And it's good to see it. It's good to see people speaking out. I just want to cover this one more thing in this story in regards to Iran, the kill switch that occurred, this shutdown of Starlink, and get your thoughts on this one. But apparently Iran shut down Starlink internet for the first time. This news broke, and I know some people are downplaying it and saying that, this is just a glitch, and there's always going to be a way to take something offline for a moment. But it was more than just a few minutes. It was like several hours. I don't know if they got it figured out, but the fact that happened at this time, does the timing mean anything here, or is this just something to expect?
They did shut it down. They did it on purpose, and they shut it down with help, it seems, from Russia and China. And it is a big deal because this is supposedly a tool the establishment had to be able to drive these protests and to drive these internal coups. They thought that, they would be able to have their people communicate with each other using Starlink on the ground to do these internal coups, because they were assuming that the government in whatever country you're talking about could not block Starlink. So that's been the story that Elon Musk has been telling to all his investors and to the public. So the fact that Iran completely shut off Starlink and they haven't been able to get it back online without Iran allowing it to come back, that's telling you that maybe it's not as effective as the establishment had hoped. So now my understanding about it is the government in question needs to be on board with shutting it down. And I think maybe that's one reason why you haven't seen Russia shut off the Starlink in Ukraine, because obviously Ukraine wants the Starlink to continue, but they seem to have been able to do it, over here in Iran. And also, apparently during the shutdown, because the ports were still trying to connect to the Starlink satellites, it's also helped them track down the people who are coordinating with Mossad and with outside forces to drive these protests, because it's taking them to the location that these ports are connecting to. So it does seem to be something that has been an unexpected block in the wheel, in the establishment wheel. So
all right, well, we'll certainly keep an eye on this one. I mean, we're gonna have to probably do a World War III watch follow-up on this, because we're getting close in that timeline. I don't know. I've heard people throwing out by the end of January. So we'll see what Israel's up to. But man, they are certainly got their hands in a lot of different antagonistic, meddlings of pots everywhere. I don't know how they keep track of it. They're the only ones that do more than we. They're the only ones that meddle in more things than we do. We're like second place, but man, Israel and the U.S.
Oh, we're not. There's no way we're second place. We're still ahead of Israel.
We're still ahead of Israel.
Yeah, we're definitely still ahead of Israel. If you look at the amount of different things we do. Now, here's the thing. They have their hands in a lot of the same things we have our hands in. So it may look like it from the outside, but if you look at USAID, if you look at what we're doing in Africa, we have a much bigger footprint on the world, at least in my opinion. So,
well, I'll tell you this then, Jay, since still more to cover on all these other situations here. How much longer do I have? Can we do one more story?
Let's do the NATO Greenland thing. Then I got to bounce after that. So you want to do that one?
Well, let me ask you this, because if I only got you for one more, do you want to really save and punch that one out on Thursday, and do a medical freedom one with me? Do a little We know what it's not, because I got some stuff we haven't done that one in a while, or we'll do either one. But I just I wanted to see if, because you hadn't done one of those with me in a while, and we can do.
All right, let's do the medical freedom one, and we'll see how the NATO thing progresses. And after that, I got to bounce. For sure.
Got it. Okay. Yeah, I'd like to. Yeah, we'll let that one sit. We've done a lot of war machine stuff today. Let's get to something that I think isn't the worst news in the world, but it's gonna be followed by bad news. So I wanted to give people some hope. We had a little bit of encouragement with something that happened this last week in the medical freedom arena. So I'll go ahead and we're gonna go ahead and call this segment. We know what it's not. We haven't done one of these in a while. It's our first one for 2026. Here we go.
But the virus stops with every vaccinated person.
But this is a pandemic of the unvaccinated.
The conspiracy theory about this related to vaccine, you're right.
We have to really move at the speed of science.
Doctors are baffled. They're looking into it. We have to wait patiently while they figure out what the hell is going on. But in the meantime, rest assured, there's one thing we know for sure, and that is we know what it's not. I'm here with co-host Jay Scott. We had a little piece of mini good news that's yet to be determined that came from the medical freedom movement, particularly from RFK's HHS position and what he was able to pull off as far as mandating recommendations of childhood vaccines. This happened, and this is reported from NPR. So they're going to do their little scare spin, because it's very scary when we change these things, right? Because we love our health officials, we love our health agencies, and it's very scary if you're a fan of NPR. They're going to let you know that this could be very dangerous, that health officials slash the number of vaccine recommended for all kids. Wow, that sounds like a big deal. And an unprecedented change, the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention is reducing the number of vaccines routinely recommended for all children from 17 to 11. They mean not the vaccine number, that's the children age range from 17 to 11 on the new schedule. Vaccines that had previously been recommended, they're saying that are no longer being recommended. Rotavirus, hepatitis A and B, meningitis, seasonal flu are now more restricted. I guess it was a 17 to 11, but that we do a total count because they recommend multiple ones of each of these. So I guess, so 6 of them have been removed, which means multiple recommendations have been removed. These are now, they were only going to be recommended for high risk or after consultation with healthcare providers, a category called shared decision making, which is really funny because that sounds like what it should have been the whole time. Everything should have been shared decision making. If anything, parents get to make the decisions after a recommendation. It should have always been that way. But anyways, regardless, they're saying that RFK Jr. has long questions. They got to remind the reader that he was always this crazy skeptical guy that questions safety and effectiveness of many childhood vaccines. With this overhaul, administration is taking a dramatic step to pare down the schedule of immunizations routinely recommended for all children. Trump directed us to examine how other developed nations protect their children and take into action that they're doing and see if they're doing better. Kennedy said in a press release about the changes after an exhaustive review of the evidence. And this is just him comparing the U.S. to other developed nations and why is our vaccine so much higher than all of them. So we are aligning the U.S. childhood vaccine schedule with international consensus while strengthening transparency and informed consent. This decision protects children, respects families, and rebuilds trust in public health. Here is a reminder for you guys before this change went into effect. This is your standard European country with 11 recommended injections of those needles going into your baby, as opposed to the U.S. with 72 needles going into your baby's, piercing your baby's skin throughout his childhood. Apparently, that has now been reduced to match the 11 injections from European.
Now think about that, right? Versus the headline. The headline was our public officials slash the number of recommended vaccines. The headline could have said our number of vaccines are now aligned with other developed countries. Those are 2 ways they could have framed the same headline, right? But they gotta scare you, Matt. They gotta scare you. Oh, crazy! What is it? The brainworm guy is coming in. And he's taking away our vaccines. Yeah, he's taking away our vaccines. So it's like, but most people just read the headline. Unfortunately, we're in that day and age where most people do not have the time or the interest to read through the entire article. And even if they read, maybe they'll read that first paragraph. You got to get down to what, the third or the fourth paragraph before you realize that we're fully aligned with other developed nations. So, they got their point across, which was to scare you. And then, I'm hearing people, attack it on social media by saying, oh, well, we need more vaccines over here because we have different demographics and different risks and all that. So we need to drug up our children even more. So, what my whole thing is, there shouldn't be mandates. Like if the evidence is strong enough, then people will follow the recommendations and take it. And if the need is great enough, like, if I have a disease and the doctor tells me I need to take this medication and I go look up online and I realize this is an immediate threat to me, and if I don't take this, I'll be in trouble and there's no viable alternatives, that's what I'm going to do. So, if I'm being told that, they need to take this because it's going to protect them, I'll do the research. And if the benefits outweigh the costs, I'll go with the recommendation. And most people are probably going to go with the pediatrician's recommendation. But, one thing I can say, is that I'd encourage everyone to understand the fact that vaccine manufacturers do not have liability for injuries that have been caused by the medication. And that makes them different from every other medical intervention that's out there. Because if you take a new drug that's not qualified as a vaccine and it hurts you in a way that you weren't warned about, you can sue them. And you cannot do that with vaccines. And we also do not have true placebo-controlled trials for all of those shots. So my question is, how can we really do the cost-benefit analysis if we do not have true placebo-controlled trials that compare vaccinated to unvaccinated over the long run? And the few ones that we do have, which don't isolate individual vaccines most of the time, and they're usually retroactive studies, not studies that have been done on purpose where they kind of control the environments. All of it says that unvaccinated children tend to be healthier than the vaccinated ones with less chronic disease. So until we get the true placebo-controlled trials, we have to ask ourselves, how can we do a true cost-benefit analysis if we don't really know what the costs are?
Yeah. No, it's 100%. And like the idea that it took COVID for me to realize that it wasn't just a unique COVID problem, that you fast-tracked Operation Warp Speed on something that we've never done before. And it was this big accomplishment. People that were all for it, they were the first ones to line up, Jay. They were like, they bought this idea that science got to a point where we can just fast-track these things and not have to worry about the trial time. During that whole time, I mean, that was obvious that was BS, obviously. But I assumed at the time that we had done the proper stuff for the previous ones. Come to find out, we never done the proper stuff. So they fast-tracked it in the sense that they had to do it out in the open in a very short period of time because everybody could see a calendar. We all knew that the lockdown was March of 2020. We all knew that first responders were getting this by December of that year. They were getting it. That doesn't make sense, right? That timeline doesn't make sense. But then when we start understanding that, of course, there's side effects, of course, there's problems, we start looking at the other vaccines and we go, wait a minute, you didn't have the right trials for those either. So now we have to look at all the side effects for all of them and say, there was never a system in place, ever. At least not since the Reagan era. There was not been a system in place that held these companies accountable. They have liability protection. They have all these things. And then go ahead.
Yeah, really quick. If you actually go back and look how that liability protection came about in the first place, it was because they kept getting sued because they weren't making safe and effective products. And they told the Reagan administration, look, the only way we're going to be able to make more of these and to give them out is if you give us the liability protection. And at that point, we were aligned with the rest of the world in terms of the number of vaccines that we gave out. As soon as we gave them this protection, the number of shots that our kids took skyrocketed. And now we're at the 72 number of individual shots, even though it might be for 17 quote unquote conditions or 17 vaccines. Each one of those 17, or a lot of them, have multiple shots, included in them. So, we really got to ask ourselves, why couldn't they do it before? Why did they need this protection to be able to roll out so many more?
Yeah. And the other thing we learned during this COVID time was the maneuvering around how do you recognize there are side effects but still sell this thing to the public that it's worth. It's still they try to sell this. Fauci did this cost benefit analysis that hey, even though there's a very rare chance you might get myocarditis, it's still not as bad as getting COVID and the problems with COVID. And it's like, well, your product doesn't stop you from getting the thing. So that logic makes no sense. And I remember when he was doing that, I was like, oh, you guys have been doing this the whole time with every product. You've been saying that if you see people having problems with it, don't worry. It's better that you take the risk because it's better than getting the thing, but you're getting the thing too. And if you guys don't remember this, I have a clip. This is Fauci with his word salad about myocarditis because he had to acknowledge myocarditis with the COVID jab. He had to. Yeah. And this is how he gets. Oh, wait. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, just to add to what you're saying, Bill Gates, when they ask him for recommended readings, he literally has publicly recommended a book written by Darrell Huff called How to Lie with Statistics. So they know how to manipulate statistics to get the goal that they want. They know how to manipulate these trials. And that's exactly what they did because they did a reanalysis of the original Pfizer trials. And they found out that even though they told us at the time that the Pfizer trials showed that it reduced severe illness and severe death, more people who were vaccinated died in the original Pfizer trials, but they eliminated everyone who died by saying, well, the death couldn't have been caused by the COVID vaccine. It was just a coincidence. So we're not going to count that as a death by the COVID vaccine. So they did a reanalysis of the same numbers. So they can do a study and draw whatever conclusions they want out of that study by quote unquote lying with the numbers.
Yeah. And then the other part of that was because they geniusly set up two jabs, right? So you had to get your first one and your second one. So if you died from the first one, you weren't technically COVID jabbed. You weren't up to date, right? You had to be up to date on your vaccine, up to date. So that's how you could easily not just write off a death from the product. You could say attribute that death to the thing that they got because they weren't fully vaccinated. And then that went to more of the, hey guys, people are dying from this disease, right? It's
worse than that though, Matt, because even after you got the second shot, I think there was still a 2-week waiting period or something like that.
Yeah.
So you take the first shot, you got to wait like a week or two before you take the second shot. And then after that, you still got to wait another 2 weeks. So if the first shot killed you, it wouldn't have been counted as a shot, as a death from the shot. And if the second shot killed you in 3 days after you took it, then it still wouldn't have been counted as a death of the shot.
And so, if you happen to have COVID, at the time of your death, it was death from COVID because they put all the froms and withs and also together. So that helped push their narrative of that. You remember the CNN marker, the death count so they could keep upping the death count of from the virus, not from the product. So
and then of course the shot actually distracts your immune system because of how it works. So a lot of people were finding that they were taking the shots and then getting sick with COVID immediately after taking the shots, right?
Those are called breakthrough cases, Jay.
Oh,
Those are very rare, although everybody seemed to get them, but they were a special type of case called breakthrough. Totally out of the ordinary when that happened. Every single damn time that happened, it was a breakthrough case. Yeah. Just to remind people, Fauci doing his little word salad game about myocarditis and how you still got to get this thing, and he's telling you to take the risk of having heart problems the rest of your life or dying at a young age, losing years of your life. He's telling parents to do this anyways. And I don't think this is this isn't so much tricking us with numbers. it's tricking us with logic. It's worse than number tricking, because he's saying a thing. If you have a choice between this and this, get the thing because it's better than this, but you're going to get the thing and you're going to have to do both anyway. So I was like, what? I don't want to do 2 Russian roulettes. I'd rather do 1. You're telling me to take 2. Oh, don't shoot yourself with the 1 bullet, Russian roulette. Take 2 of them. That's literally his argument, and people fell for this.
Have experience with this type of vaccine in billions of people. It's a safe vaccine. Of course, with the mRNA, there's a very, very, very low risk, particularly in young men, of getting a myocarditis. But if you look at the risk of myocarditis from COVID itself is greater than the risk of the vaccine.
No, there's no logic to that, Jay. You're gonna do 2 shots of Russian roulette on your own head, because Fauci says don't do 1 shot, do 2, because that's better than doing 1. There's no math.
Well,
That's not even faking us with math. It's faking us with words. It's weird, man. It's effing weird.
His explanation is, well, if you take this Russian roulette, then it lowers your chance of being negatively affected by the other Russian roulette. So they'll say you'll still catch COVID, but it'll be a quote unquote much milder case of COVID. But we all see how that turned out. And like, the truth is, so many of these studies come out that show the flu shot, and the flu shot too, like, it may give you some temporary protection from very severe COVID sometimes, but in the long run, what they're finding is people who are taking these flu shots and the COVID shots regularly, although it's much worse with the COVID shots, they actually are more likely to catch the flu and to get severe cases of it in the long run. So it has the exact opposite effect in the long term.
Yeah. And this was all leading to some, I don't want to say breaking news, but this did come out of South Korea very recently here, and it's worth noting. It's quite a shock. This is the largest study, I believe, done on vaccinated individuals. They did the entire country. The entire country was studied here. At least whoever was in the database. 51 million people, South Korea. Landmark study of the entire country confirms that COVID shots induce VAIDS in every age group. And if you haven't heard of VAIDS, your eyes aren't playing tricks on you. That is a V next to the word AIDS. That's not a trick of your mind. That's real. What does it stand for? Vaccine Acquired Immunodeficiency Syndrome. This was a study in South Korea. Again, 51 million people. And the vaccinated Koreans that suffered a dose-dependent rise in the common cold, upper respiratory infections, pneumonia, and tuberculosis was up to 559%. And they're saying particularly kids were hit the hardest. This is the group that did it, the International Journal of Infectious Diseases. It is a peer-reviewed study during the trial. This is between 2023 and 2024. I guess we're just getting the numbers now, or they were studying it through 2023, 2024. So we have this information now. Here's one of the charts coming out of the study that shows you if you had gotten 4 doses of the COVID vaccine, here's how damaged your immune system had suffered from this. If you were living in South Korea at this time, 51.6 million people. This is how bad. Just a common cold, 559%, 83% for upper respiratory, pneumonia, 91%, tuberculosis, 35%. Not a joke, Jay. This is more and more. This isn't the first study like this, but it seems like the largest as far as an entire population goes. And those are all the people that had to comply for whatever, wherever you were at the time. You got in line with what your government told you. And you did it, and now we're suffering the consequences here. It's pretty bad.
And it was mandated, for a lot of people too. It wasn't even like they were tricked. Like, a lot of people were told, if you want to keep earning money and if you want to, have any chance of paying back the loans you've taken out in college to study all this stuff, then you have to take this shot. Otherwise, you'll be kicked out of your field entirely. It was like that with a lot of people, who practice medicine, unfortunately. So, we have to ask ourselves, what lessons do we take from this to learn in the future? And I just sent you, another study over WhatsApp. But, we're also now finding major journals are publishing the link between the COVID shot and cancer. And this prominent journal that just published was a collection of different studies that's been completely peer reviewed. The moment it published it, it faced a gigantic cyber attack. And
we have that
was
story.
taken
Yes,
offline.
I have
So,
it. I pulled this as well on my end. This is from Disclosed TV, which said this study that Jay's referring to, linking mRNA injections in cancer, was censored by a cyber attack. Like Jay said, it was just moments after it was published. So this is some scary stuff. The study, it was published in OncoTarget, and they found the potential link between mRNA injections and cancer diagnosis, which we've been having this discussion for years now. And they did 69 studies. The researchers reviewed 69 studies worldwide, identifying 333 cases where cancer was diagnosed or worsened shortly after injection. But they did stress this was the study wasn't about a direct causal connection. It has been empirically established. So they just want to make sure that hadn't been established yet, but they did have the numbers identifying these 333 cases. Many of the cases involved were tumors growing near injection sites on the arm. But again, they couldn't say it was definitively from the cause of the injections, but this information certainly needed to get out to people. And as we were talking about, shortly after the study's release, their website was hit by a cyber attack, rendering it inaccessible. Dr. Warfik El-Deri was one of the authors. It highlighted concerns about censorship in medical research because of the attack. And this is the message that went out. It was from OncoTarget. Again, it's a peer-reviewed oncology and cancer research journal. And from December 2025 to January 26, the server experienced a malicious cyber attack. So they reported to the FBI. The attacks have continued since then, and the culprit seems to be a group called PubPeer, and there's suspicions that certain individuals associated with PubPeer may have been involved in this cyber criminal activity, including hacking servers, causing journal websites to go offline, and using illegitimate practices to influence Google search results for journals and scientists. We are in contact with the federal agencies right now about the suspects, and I'm sure they're returning all your calls, promptly on this. Which, I'm not holding my breath on that. But the doctor tweeted this out. All I can say is, wow, regarding how PubPeer has taken public harassment and targeting of scientists to a new level. The harassment is by an anonymous person who refers to themselves as, Acton Opolio. Poro, but I can't even pronounce this. It's an anonymous person. The paper was published overnight and it had already been attacked on PubPeer, as if they have nothing better to do than target papers being published by the El-Deri lab. And he tagged a bunch of people on this, including Kash Patel. I'm sure Kash Patel's taking a break from his girlfriend podcasts, and he's looking right into this because he's about, quickness, right? You got 33 hours. He solved the Charlie Kirk case. I'm sure he's on this one right now. So, rest assured, doctor, there will be justice for you. Of course, I'm being sarcastic. I don't think justice is coming in this one, Jay.
Yeah, that's the pattern we've seen, unfortunately. So, not only are they hiding all the studies, they're coming out with all kinds of alternate explanations about the explosion in cancer rates. And, we definitely were seeing an increase before the injection. So by no means am I saying that all the increase in cancer is due to the mRNA jabs, but there are plenty of pathways that have been identified for the mRNA jabs to cause cancer. It's the mRNA itself, which causes your body to produce spike proteins and they're finding the spike proteins in these cancer cells. So, that's an indicator that it could be driving it. You also have the DNA contamination that is found inside the shot. So there are multiple pathways that it could be causing cancer. And this paper didn't get into the possible causation. All it did was show, hey, there's definitely a correlation here. So this is step one that we need to look into so we can study it more. So
yeah,
that's where we're at. But, you know, on that note, I do got to run, but, you know.
Hold on. We always got to finish it up. We just got a couple. We got to throw these up here because you guys know we know what it's not. And we have been just speculating. Don't take our word for it. Jay and I are not medical experts. We're just we're just reporting you guys what happened. We're just reporting it. We're not the ones saying it. But we did have to cover a couple unrelated incidences. This is just random, just so you guys know, this is just common now. Just real quick, we got a college football player, Ethan Walker, died unexpectedly on vacation. College footballer. He was 20 years old, offensive lineman for Iowa Central football program. He was on vacation with his girlfriend in Florida, passed away unexpectedly. 6'5", 310-pound lineman, redshirted freshman this past season. Apparently on January 4th, their world was shattered. This is the post that went up on the GoFundMe. Ethan Walker, just 20 years old, passed away unexpectedly from a sudden medical event while on vacation in Orlando, Florida. That's too bad. This is just the world we live in. It's a condolences. It's you know, our sympathies go out to the family. But sudden medical events happen to 20-year-olds, especially athletes. It's just a thing. Look at this one. Dad and son went to bed with cough and cold before both dying in their sleep. That sucks. The father died years ago, but apparently the son had the exact same runny nose, tickly throat. At 24 years old, he went to bed with a cough. Before suffering a cardiac arrest. It's really unexpected. It's a massive shock, obviously. But again, this is the world we live in. We have no idea what caused it, but we do know what it's not. That we can tell you for absolute certainty. No need to look at medical records. That's private. How dare you ask for medical records? How dare you people want to know their medical history? That's private. As you guys know, we never ask for private information. Well, except if it's to get into a restaurant and be in society during COVID, but that doesn't count. One more, just for shits and giggles. This is an actual former competitor of Cali 7, Mr. Panama. His name is, he went by Mr. Panama. He died. Looks very athletic, a very athletic dude. Unfortunately, and yeah, he was Mr. Panama back in 2021. I don't know, Jay, do you think back in 21, if you were competing on a national stage, you had to maybe do something in order to compete? I don't know. I'm just guessing, but 2021 seems like a year that you might have had to sign up to do something in order to compete. Just throwing it out there. I have no idea because, as I said, medical records are private and should not be disclosed except to get into a restaurant and eat lunch during COVID. That's the only exception. So again, sources close to this athlete, they informed that the cause of his death of him was cardiac arrest. So we got 3 heart problems in a row here. Very young males. Just as Fauci told us, the very rare chance you get myocarditis as a young, healthy male, very slim, but definitely worth taking the jab, especially if you wanted to participate in society. So I just wanted to throw those out. Those all happened this week, start of 2026. Great way to start the year for those families. Again, condolences, our thoughts and prayers go out to the families.
Yeah, and again, obviously, we don't know for certain that, like the vaccine caused those deaths. Like the second one, it did say that the father passed away in 2017. So obviously, we can't blame that on the father. But again, people who are older dying from these types of things, again, it's still rare, but it does happen. But the people who were dying younger, we really got to ask ourselves, like, this really didn't happen this often before. Like, there's been a gigantic increase in young people dying from cardiac events. And whenever I see, cause of death is undisclosed or it was just a medical event, I do lean more towards it was probably a heart thing, and they don't want to tell us it was a heart thing because we know that the one proven effect they told us can happen from the jab is heart stuff. So, it's truly sad. So again, this isn't to, I feel so sorry for every family that's going through this right now, but the reason we're bringing it up is because there may be ways that we can prevent, more of this from happening. There are supplements out there that have been shown to break down some of the clots and maybe reverse some of the damage. that is being done by these shots. But if we won't admit publicly and on the mainstream media that there is a problem happening, then a lot of people who could be helped are not going to be helped. So the only reason we're talking about this is because we want to get help to people who could be suffering from consequences, and we want to make sure the same thing does not happen again. Because I should have sent you the story when I saw it, but apparently, now we're funding more coronavirus research within America under the new NIH Jay Bhattacharya. I got to go find that and send it to you so we can cover that soon. But we're still doing the coronavirus research, like to this day, and we're doing it here in America after Barack Obama, originally shut it down. So we're not out of the woods yet, Matt.
We're not out of the woods yet. Oh my God. I just got word from one of our viewers. I know you got to go here, Jay, but Jesus, I knew that this seems surreal. Long time listener. Thank you for pointing this out. Scott Adams died from turbo cancer. This checks out. It just got announced. He's dead. We saw this one coming. Let me share the story here. Wow. This is we've been following Scott Adams for a while here. Let's see. Yeah, this is official.
Yeah, and
Dilbert
Scott
Vader.
Adams, he does point out some good things sometimes. I'm definitely not a fan of everything that he said, and I do disagree strongly with some of his political opinions, but that doesn't mean I wish death on anyone, and people can always grow and evolve. So, and he was someone who was speaking out, against the COVID shot, after he got his cancer diagnosis. So, he does seem to be someone that has somewhat, learned the lesson during COVID. So, yeah, may he rest in peace. And hopefully, we can learn from some of the mistakes that we made this time and give people the choice. And we need to stop letting drug companies tell us if their product is safe or not. And we have to fund the safety studies. We don't just leave it up to them to tell us if their product is safe or not. So I really hope that is one of the lessons that we draw out of this. But
and I'll just bookend it with because thank you again, longtime listener, for pointing this out. Scott did push the vax initially and took it. Then he admitted the vax skeptics got it right, but for the wrong reasons. He was off on his logic, and he was very loud about it and very obnoxious about it. And I think we can separate the man from, you can say condolences to the family. But I think this is deserving of a story. I think we're going to cover Scott out. I'm going to do a segment on him on Thursday. But I just wanted to get the news out to you guys because this just got announced just hours ago. So so you guys know that happened. And it seemed to be inevitable. He seemed to know it was coming. He was very much in that realm for the last few months, just be talking about death, ready for death, even though he got to throw the kitchen sink as it to borrow an expression from Joe Rogan, he got to throw the kitchen sink at it. He got special priority. We'll get into that on Thursday. He got special VIP access that no one else got. And I think people were angry about that because there's people that's sitting around that don't get direct phone lines to RFK Jr. and to Trump, which he did. But here you are. The inevitable happened. He is passed away. Creator of Dilbert, Scott Adams, may rest in peace.
It's sad. I mean, the same thing happened to RFK Jr.'s cousin, right? She came out and strongly criticized him. Said that he was crazy and his ideas about the COVID shot were dangerous. Then after she took it, she got turbo cancer in her brain and died shortly after that. So again, condolences to the family, but I hope people are learning the lesson here that they're actively suppressing information that tie the COVID shots to cancer. And they're telling us that there's nothing wrong with the mRNA technology as they're still funding, COVID virus research now here in America. They're not even outsourcing it to China now. They're doing it here in America again. So we're not out of the woods yet. So with that being said, got to run now. I'll be back Thursday. Appreciate all the listeners out here. If you haven't liked and subscribed to the channel yet, make sure you do so. I'll catch you guys later. Adios,
awesome. Thanks, Jay. We'll see you next time. All right. Jay Scott, everybody. Wow, what a loaded first show back. And this is why I tell you guys why we do 2 shows a week. I considered for a moment while we were on our break, I considered for a moment going back to one, thinking, hey, what if we just really took our time, prepping that one show and making sure it was just solid for you guys. Every week you could count on just one solid show that was going to be tight and just ready to go production wise, time wise, guest wise, everything. And we're not doing that. And the reason why is this. It's because things happen so quickly. We're not going for perfection here. We're not going for full production, 10 out of 10. We're going for accuracy. We're going for focus. And we're juggling a lot of stuff. You guys know this. We juggle a whole lot of stuff on the show. And 2 shows are better than one because of moments like this. We can move some stuff around. We told you guys earlier with Jay, he's going to come back Thursday. We might have a really good guest for us. I can't announce it yet, but we might have a really awesome guest coming in as well. And you guys know we bring guests in and out. So it's good to have 2 options. Sometimes we have to spill over stories from Tuesday. We'll do it on Thursday. And we won't feel the pressure of one big, amazing show every week. It's giving you guys 2 opportunities to tune in with us as things unfold. So everything's a work in progress. I guess that's what I'm saying. Everything's a work in progress. We're never going to be experts on one thing. Hell, when are we even saying we're experts on anything? When do we even say, the medical freedom stuff? We've been covering that from day one. Or the second we started the show, we were on that shit. We had, we had the wellness company on like one of our very first shows. It was like one of our first interviews, group interviews. We're talking to the wellness company. We're bringing on these important people and we're talking about this stuff. And, fast forward, we're still not experts. We're never going to be experts. We're just going to be able to do the best we can in the moment and treat it like it's always a work in progress. Ukraine, a work in progress. Israel, crimes against humanity, work in progress. Medical freedom, work in progress, always. So twice a week, guys, we'll stick to it. And if we have to miss a show here and there, we do that too. And then we won't be gone for so long. We can follow up with you guys pretty quickly if we happen to miss a show for whatever reason. And we might have to. We have other projects come up. There's some films in the work we're working on here. We just want you guys to know that there were some film projects that we have in the works. And we might have to, move stuff around, get a sub host for a while. Who knows? So sky's the limit for 2026. We appreciate you guys. Don't go anywhere. 2 things left we want to do today. One is we're going to talk to you guys. We're going to do a talking back. I'm going to hold it down. I hope we'll have Leslie back with us on Thursday to help us out with this. But you guys know I try my best to engage with you the best I can. We'll do about 20 minutes. We'll do about 20 minutes on talking back. And then we're going to throw out a loudest voice for you. We had some people ask about loudest voice of the year for 2025. I think that's a great idea. I think Citizen Padeo asked us, should we do that? I think we should. We're not going to do it today. We're just going to give you one little fun one today. And then Thursday, I think we're going to give you guys a bigger breakdown of the top 5. We're going to do the top 5 loudest voices of 2025. It's good for, after the fact, look back and reflect on the most powerful moments of last year. But we're not doing that today. We're just going to give you a fun one on the way out. So right now, 2 more things coming up. Let's go ahead. We don't need a break. We're just going to go for it. Let's just go for it. Before I play the little jingle intro, just going to remind you guys how you can get to us right now. Guys, this is live right now. You can do this right now. You can go on Rumble. You can do it's called a Rumble rant. And you'll get cut to the front of the line. We'll get you guys right on. I'll respond directly to your comment live on the show. It helps us out too. The Rumble rants help us out on YouTube. You guys know they're called super chats. You guys can do that on YouTube and we'll cut you right to the front of the line. If you do normal comments, that's also, it's risky because we don't necessarily going to get to you, but we'll do our best and we'll try and get to you guys, at least in the order they were received, and go from there. And I think you can even throw something on Twitter. It'll come up. It'll come up on our feed here on StreamYard. If you want to throw up a little comment, we'll see if we can find some there. And then on Facebook, if you guys are on there, you can comment and we'll see those as well. So that's it. Let's go ahead and talk to you guys now in the segment we like to call Talking Back with Matt. Here we go. It's Talking Back with Matt. This is our first interaction with you guys in 2026. Happy New Year to everyone. We're doing it kind of late into January, but even still, man, there's a lot going on, a lot of action in these first 2 weeks of the year. And, make no mistake, the world is responding to the empire, to U.S. empire, to Israel, Greater Israel Project, to Western propaganda, to imperialism, Western imperialism all around. They're responding to it. We're responding it to here on our home front, and they're responding to it around the world in places that we think we can go in and just seize, take over, control, steal, annihilate, destroy, genocide, and have no consequences. So this is what it takes. People fighting back. That's why we're here. Homeless Left is here to fight back, to push back. We do the job the mainstream media refuses to do. And that's why we're here. The Homeless Left coming to you guys the rest of 2026. So we'll start things off. We called this show naturally titled Disrupting the Empire. Because of all the chaos around the world, we have to look at all of it. We did our best today. We'll have some more for you guys on Thursday, but we had Jay Scott on with us, which was awesome. Had some discussions. We just got finished with one on the update in the medical freedom movement. Child vaccines came down. However, cancers went up. So there's, yin and yang sometimes there. We also have been talking about Venezuela, pushback. People in the streets on all sides are in the streets fighting against the empire, whether they're Chavistas or part of the opposition. They're all fighting against the U.S. empire, and they want their president back. You don't kidnap a president and don't think that people aren't going to get angry about that. There will be consequences. We talked about Israel's plan, diabolical plan to have us get into another war, yet another war with Iran. So things are heating up there, and we got people protesting us in the street in Iran. That's happening. They don't want us there. Nobody wants us there. They want us out. They want the evil empire out. It's pretty common sense to know that you don't want an outside entity coming in and controlling your country. That's just kind of basic logic. But apparently a lot of American citizens who follow mainstream media will be fooled and think that that is something that people want, even though we prove it every single time to be BS. Every single time. It never works out. There ain't no democracy coming to Iraq. There ain't no democracy coming to Venezuela. There's no democracy coming to Libya, to Syria. Certainly not to the parking lot we know as Palestine now. Gaza is a parking lot. There's no democracy coming. There's no democracy coming. By the way, there's no democracy coming to Ukraine either. You guys know that, right? You guys know that. It's the least democratic country in Europe. The most corrupt country in Europe is Ukraine. So name your country, name your Latin American country, name your African country, name your Middle Eastern country. There's no democracy coming. Certainly not initiated by us. Certainly not. Okay. With that said, let's go ahead and start from the top. We know that Citizen Badejo, you have been pretty solid for us on YouTube. We see you coming in there strong. We did not get to this. I'm really sorry, but thank you for the super chat. We did not get, it was not in the cards. Apologies, my friend. It was not in the cards to play Nico's rolling versus Iran. We'll have to check that out. And see if it fits into Thursday's show. But thank you for the suggestion. We always take your suggestions and anybody's suggestions seriously if we see them in time. Absolutely. Yes, it's Taco Tuesday. Taco Tuesday. Hello, Jay from a wish ago. And by the way, fuck ICE fascism. Yes. Welcome to 2026, Jay, for sure. Yes, we have longtime listener. Yes. We need some more watermelons. We need some more watermelons for sure. I was thinking about putting a watermelon in one of our logos or one of our something. It might be a little late to do that, but better late than never. And then we did go offline there. Jungle Jerry, yes, canceled or disconnected. Probably a little of both. I don't know what happened. Probably an AT&T problem. So thank you guys for sticking by, and letting us keeping us going, because we did have that little glitch. It was like we were offline for 5 minutes for some reason. And there's Leslie. Hello, friends. Leslie, hope you can come back with this on Thursday. We know she's working hard there in the medical arena. One of the only, human hands-on, that relationship we don't have anymore with our medical community. Very rare to see that. So we know Leslie's doing the good work on behalf of humankind to keep that to keep that relationship with patients and staff that we just see so less and less of organically, or if at all, these days. So very cool. Let's see what else we had. Once we got back online, we started to really move. We were talking about ICE. That was a big story. We had a raid from Due Dissidents, so we really appreciate. By the way, Bonzo Beans, telling us to smash the like button. Thank you, Bonzo Beans. You've been helping us with the modding on both channels, so we really appreciate that. And thanks for bringing the Due Dissidents guys over as well. All the Due Dissidents listeners, very cool. And let's see what else we got. Let's get to some of this stuff. Okay. Oh shoot. I don't know if this is true, but Nailem is referring to the murdered U.S. citizen that was murdered by ICE, Renee Good. They dropped her credit score to -100. I hope that's not true, but I don't think you would have posted that unless that didn't come from something. I had to look into that, but man, they really didn't they really do a number on Renee? They really did. I mean, they just went all at her. I just can't believe this. This shit makes me so effing angry. You know, that the first impulse is to belittle this person and make her look like not Renee Good, make her look like Renee No Good, I think is what they were going for. We told you guys this on our Top Censored News last week. We didn't do the show, but we did a Top Censored News countdown, and this certainly made the list. Renee Nicole Good, right away, Fox News told us she was part of ICE Watch. ICE Watch. Ooh, terrorist organization, right? ICE Watch sounds like a terrorist organization. What, you can't watch ICE? What the F? And this is all, they can't find anything else on her, so they're just going to say, oh, this was a radical left. By the way, even if she was radical left, what the hell does that, what are you saying? Are you saying that if you're radical anything, that you deserve to be murdered? I guess that's what they're going with. So warning to the rest of us, don't be radical in anything. Be middle of the road. Keep your mouth shut. Don't keep track of anything. Don't watch anything. Don't hold people accountable for anything. And maybe, just maybe, you might stay alive through the next disaster, which there seems like there's one, every week there's a new disaster. Oh, this is good. I love this one. In Gaza, it's guilty until found dead. Whew, that's chilling. That is chilling. 100% on that one. 100% on that one. Okay, let's see what else we got here. I'm checking the Rumble rants. I don't know if we got any Rumble rants today, which is cool. It's cool. It's cool. Don't worry, guys. We got the Rumble raid. That was nice. And you guys, let's see if there's any. I'm just going to check here in case I don't want to miss any super chats here. Let's see. Okay. I think we're good on super chats. Okay. Very nice. Very nice. Okay. Let's get some more of you guys here. Let's see. Okay. Here we go. Mary Ploppins, thanks for tuning in. Always nice to see you on here. Let's see what else we have here. Yeah, look at that. Who would have guessed that, Nahum? Who would have guessed that the Department of Homeland Security was established in Israel? It was during the Obama administration. We have the timestamp because guess what? Elon let us see where accounts were originated from, and he forgot that if you're gonna see where people are originated from, you're also gonna see where these organizations originate from. And we had the timestamp 2009. That, make no mistake about it, they changed it now. You go check it now, it'll be changed. But we have this screenshot. DHS was established in Tel Aviv in 2009 under Obama's administration. That's a fact. That's a fact. Elon can pretend it was a glitch in Twitter, a glitch. Accidentally, Tel Aviv accidentally showed up on the location. They meant to say Washington, D.C. That's what they meant to say. But oopsie, Twitter had a little glitch. And what do you know? Tel Aviv. That's where our DHS was created. That should infuriate anyone, everyone. Could you imagine if it was like China if we saw it originating in China. Could you imagine how many pissed off conservatives, those Chinese communists, they're like could you imagine? But no, when it's Israel, it's hush hush. Let's not, let's just call it a glitch and move on. It's interesting. That's interesting, right? Because we wouldn't tolerate that. The right wing would not tolerate that if it was China, and the left would not tolerate if it said Moscow, right? If it said DHS originated in Moscow, right? The left would be furious. But everyone's cool with Tel Aviv. Everyone's cool with that. That makes a lot of sense because, greatest ally ever, right? Ever. Oh, this is dark. You think, long-time listener, that the USA's 250th birthday could be the final one? Ooh. That's really dark. You wouldn't say that. Would you say that to great grandpa hitting his number 100? Be like, hey, great grandpa, good to see you one last time. But hey, you might not say it, but everyone's thinking it. When grandpa turns 100, you can't even fit 100 candles on that cake. But everyone's thinking this is probably the last one. We're just trying to get to the 100. So our country's trying to get to the 250. We just have to say we did it, right? You just got to say you got there. Then I think we got enough of that upward transfer of wealth. We got enough of that skimming off the top of Ukraine money and Israel money. And rigging the stock market and effing everyone with Bitcoin. And we're good. We're gonna go move into our underground layers with our newfound wealth, and we'll see the rest of you guys another time. See ya. Wouldn't want to be ya. That's pretty much how it goes. Okay. Let's see. We got a lot of other great comments here, guys. Let's see what we're talking about here. Oh, the Patagonia. This was the Israeli, the story that Israelis set fire to Argentina forest, the Patagonia, and Herb Green tells us conspiracy theory. You don't say, and that's how they're reporting it. They're reporting it as a hateful conspiracy theory. If you go look it up in any of those Israel publications, the Jerusalem Post, you got these Stop Anti-Semitism groups, all calling this a conspiracy theory, calling it a hate theory or whatever I don't know if you even call it a hate theory, or maybe it's a hate crime to have a theory that the wildfires in Argentina were not done naturally. They were actually done by outsiders who came in and were caught on camera doing it, and they happen to be Israeli. And the president of Argentina happened to take away a rule that you couldn't buy land from burnt land. You could not buy it if you were outsider. Good thing he took that rule away. So now any Israeli that wants to relocate, they're already relocating there. IDF members get to relocate their total sanctuary for them in the Patagonia, the Argentinian forest. Now they can buy property there because the president says so. You can do that now. So, but don't talk about it, or you're a conspiracy hate theorist. That might be a term, right? A conspiracy hate theorist. Let's try that one. If see if that one sticks. Okay. I guess you guys were debating who was the worst area to be in. But allegedly, we have to say allegedly, right? Allegedly is important, Herb Green. It's a crime if you don't say allegedly. That's the golden word. Boom, allegedly. Or you could say, I'm not saying it, they're saying it. We're just reporting on it. We do that one a lot here on the show. We'll be like, we're just reporting on it. We're not saying it. We're just reporting on it. So it's all allegedly. Appreciate that, Herb. That keeps our channels from not being pulled anymore. Pulling your strings. Americans never learn. We never learn. Herb Green doubles down. Just Americans? I don't know. Maybe there's a lot of people that don't learn, but we certainly have a bunch here that never learn. Let's see what else we got here. So, pulling the strings. Zionists are looking for a new home just in case Israel gets nuked. And what better place than the Amazonian forests of Argentina. What better place for sanctuary? It's great. They're just loving the idea of relocating there. Yeah. Okay, let's see what else. And I am gonna look into this one. I do think that I never heard this was a 6th visit, but does it really matter at this point, Citizen Pendejo, if Netanyahu was on his 6th or 5th? It is clear that it's his second home. The White House is his second home at this point. Yeah, he might as well just stay. Why does he even need to go back? He should just stay in the White House at this point. Yeah. Okay. Got a few more. Let's see. Can't get to everything here, guys, unfortunately. Okay. What else we got? Oh, we got some YouTube engagement. Barry 69. Thanks for tuning in. America first. Yeah, what happened to America first? And by the way, fix healthcare and lower prices. Well, we're not going to be able to do any of that because Israel is first, and they get universal healthcare from our taxes. We just keep giving them billions and billions and billions. Whatever they want, we provide. So yeah, we're certainly not getting healthcare anytime soon. That's not on the agenda, unfortunately. And yes, you pointed it out. There it is. Israel has universal healthcare and free collection. Who funds that? We do. All right, Jungle Jared, thanks for tuning in. There are so many moving parts globally. It's kind of a world war. It's kind of a world war. We are due for a World War III watch. We're going to do one of those for you guys on Thursday. Man, oh man. But yeah, Barry, fix America first. Absolutely. And Jungle Jared says all funded by the World Banks, owned by Zionist oligarchs. And there are no normal war. What's a war anyway? Wars. All wars are banker wars. And who owns the banks? There you go. That's all you got to know. It's the money. Who controls the money? Those are the wars. They control the media, everything. That's all you got to know. That's all you need to know. What else? Let's see if we get some other people tuning in here. Yeah, we were going down the rabbit hole of Miliowski. Put them together, and what do you got? Citizen Bendejo, Javier Miliowski. Yep. Very familiar. Similar name to Netanyahu and where he came from. They don't tell you that on Wikipedia, but you can find out. Same name. Isn't that interesting? It's so interesting. It must be a coincidence. Okay. What else we got here? We'll do a few more. And then we got to move on here. Okay, guys. Yeah, I can do a few more here. All right. What else we got here? Oh, I love this. We were asking about Tulsi's reaction to pushing war with Iran. What is it going to be? What do you think Tulsi's going to? How do you think Tulsi's going to respond? Well, it seems her responses have been very delayed. She was literally in Hawaii doing vacation posts, right? She was doing vacation posts on her off time because she wasn't working. She was at the beach in Hawaii. Of course she was, right? While we had a foreign president, Maduro, being kidnapped from his home by us. The director of national security was posting pictures at Hawaii on the beach while Maduro is getting kidnapped. She clearly was left out of that conversation, which is very bizarre, but it makes sense. So we joke about it now. What's Tulsi going to say about Iran? Well, according to Herb Green, they told Tulsi to go surf and meditate. Allegedly. I love it. And Nahum points out Tulsi equals military counter psychological operation officer. And it's best for her to stay out of it than the psych job, the op that's being done on Trump supporters is that, oh, Tulsi's working on it, right? She's trying to, she'll come up with a plan, right? She's gonna do the right thing. No, just keep her out of the room, and she won't ever have to say anything intelligible from here on out. You don't even have to fire her. You just keep her on the sideline. It's actually pretty genius, because if you fired her, you have to bring someone else in, and then you got to do a whole packaging campaign on that person, Well, Tulsi still has clearly has the respect from hardcore Trumpers, and they're okay with that line of garbage. They're okay with the fact that she isn't in the room, but she's working on a response, and she'll have something important to say, and she's doing the best she can with what she has to work with, and that's that's fine. You can believe that, but we know that's part of the psychological operation. She was never going to do anything in the first place for us. Now at least she has a cover, right? She can say the reason I did it is because they shut me out. So then you keep that operation intact, you keep it alive, and you keep it long lasting. Because there's no excuse. Whereas somebody like Kash Patel, as we know about Dan Bongino, they have very short clocks on them because they have been in the room. They've been the one saying there's nothing to see here. And those clocks are shorter. And we already saw Bongino's out. I think the next person out is Kash. I think he's the next one out. But we'll see what happens. Jungle Jared, they're hedging their bets. Underground insurance policy. Yeah, we talk about what's going on down below. We know Zuckerberg and all the rest of these billionaires are building underground layers. So why are they doing that? It's weird, right? It's weird. Why would you do that? Well, yeah, we were just talking about this. Our bankers own the earth, take it away from them, but leave them the power to create money. And with a flick of their pen, they will buy it all back. Ha ha! That's a quote from Sir Josiah Stamp, Bank of England. Great observation from Bank of England, Sir Joseph Stamp, that even if you took the power away, they would just take it right back. Wow. All right. Okay, let's see. Let's do a couple more, and if I miss some good ones, we'll certainly get them on at the ending. And we do have one more segment for you, so don't go anywhere, guys. Let's do two more here, and I'll pin some for the end here. What do we got here? Oh, we got Utopians. Thanks for tuning in, Utopians. Big loud trucks are a psyop. Those stupid oversized Titan or Ram trucks are torture. The sound they emit is psychological torture, like a 50-foot dog growling. Yeah, I could certainly see that. There's so many different tools they have for fooling us, tricking us, distracting us, annoying us, confusing us, scaring us, hurting us, pitting us against each other. A lot of tools in their toolbook. And as Rumsfeld once told us, when he was asked point blank, Donald Rumsfeld, who was the Secretary of Defense before we called it Secretary of War, he should have been Secretary of War back in the Cheney-Bush regime, Darth Vader regime. He told us right to the press in a press conference, he told us that, yeah, we're working on this insane technology, these insane murder weapons, these sonic weapons, these futuristic weapons. This is back in the early 2000s. And he was asked point blank, well, where are we in the timeline? If you're testing these weapons, and this is during Iraq, right? So we were all about, let's kill a bunch of terrorists in Iraq and bring democracy, right? We were gonna drop our Bible everywhere, right? We're gonna just drop Bibles in the grounds of Baghdad, right? And they were all gonna become Christians overnight. That was the plan. Obviously, Israel knew that wasn't gonna work. They were probably laughing at that. Yeah, dropping Bibles. Yeah, right. Good luck with that one. Well, the point is, these weapons we were working on, this was well over 20 years ago. The technology, Rumsfeld told us that it wasn't, there's stuff we have that isn't ready yet. So it's not tested. So he said, I can't really answer your question. You're asking me if there's a timeline for testing and then using this horrible, awful weapons that are going to like torture people and kill them in ways we can't even imagine, from the inside out, like melting people from the inside out. That type of weaponry. And he said, I can't answer your question because whoever's in charge of that, or if it's me or somebody else, one of these generals, if they feel like it's the right time, we'll just whip it out, even if they're not being done tested. So I can't even tell you a timeline. I can just tell you, if it feels right, we're just going to use it. And we're going to say F the testing. And that question was answered like that, very nonchalantly, and it held. And no reporters don't push back on it. They go, oh, yeah, that makes sense because, war on terror and all. And we got to smoke them out of their caves, and we got to do anything it takes. So, yeah, we might as well just pull anything out of our bag of tricks anytime we feel like it. And what do you know? we're pulling out our bag of tricks right on the American people over 20 years later, and so many other countries that were doing what we did to Iraq, and we killed over 1 million innocent Iraqis back in 2003, and we're going to continue killing innocent people, and we never learn. Guys, why don't we ever learn? Why don't we figure this out? It's all bullshit, all of it. Okay, one more, and then I will tag some more for you guys. I want to get you guys some comments up at the end here. But last one in this segment here. Let's go with, here we go. We get a good one here. Oh God, we said this earlier. I got to circle. This has to be what we circle back to, Herb Green. I appreciate this because I didn't know the reference of who said this. Apparently it's Michael Rivero. Okay. Michael Rivero, all wars are banker wars. And we tag on to that. Who owns the banks? That's it. Okay. That's it for Talking Back with Matt today. Thank you guys so much. Let's go ahead and cue up the next segment. We're going to give you guys a loudest voice right now. It's a fun one. I didn't want this one to be too intense. It's our first time back here this year. We're going to do a fun one today because fun ones are fun and they don't all have to be totally seriously intense. But this one, let's just call this one entertaining. And I'll go ahead and play the opening on Loudest Voice. And then I want to just remind you, if you missed it earlier, I'll let you guys know that on Thursday, Thursday, we're going to have a great show on Thursday. We have a great show we're planning for you guys 2 days from now. On that show, we plan to give you guys a Loudest Voice of the Year, a retrospect of 2025, the top 5 loudest voices, which are going to be very important to go back and look at. We always want to take moments to do that. So we'll go ahead and do that for you guys on Thursday. But for now, since I got everything now set up, let's do a nice little fun one. This is the first one of 2026 with many more to come. I think this is our most popular segment on YouTube. Actually, it's pretty clear. This is our most popular segment on YouTube. So we will certainly focus on these loudest voices, and we do take suggestions too. If you want to send us a DM on on Twitter, let us know if you have any suggestions for loudest voice of the week. So let's go ahead and get started here. It's our final segment of this show today. Here we go, guys, and appreciate you guys tuning in. This will be a fun one. Let's go. A good one that we'll end on a high note. Here we go. It's the loudest voice of the week. There was a pretty interesting debate. Well, I don't know if the debate was so interesting itself. Once in a while, you'll see these little gatherings, these independent, I guess we call them independent media folks, podcasters, self-proclaimed journalists that'll, get together on a stage and have friendly debates. Debates are great. I like them, especially with studio audiences. There's something about a studio audience that is really nice. And I hope we're able to do some of those this year. I really do hope that we're able to do some in person. I'll settle for Zoom and StreamYard, but in person, on stage debates, I'll take on anyone. I'll do Israel. I'll do Big Pharma. I'll do two-party duopoly. I'll do anything. And I have no problem with a sitting live audience that is there to respond to the debater. So with that said, I don't think I even would have heard that this thing was happening. But the reason this thing made the rounds on Twitter was because of a particular moment, which lasted about a minute. There were other weird moments as well. So the whole thing wasn't like normal. The whole thing was kind of weird. But there's one moment that stands out particular that we're going to give loudest voice of the week to. So first, let's introduce the contestants. You guys, she doesn't need an introduction. You know that Anna Kasperian, she's been on the right side when it comes to, I'd say about 90%, maybe 85% of Palestine. She's right on. The part she leaves out is she still condemns Hamas, which is really weird. But she does get to go on CNN and call out some of these psychopaths on CNN, which is nice. And she certainly holds her own when she goes on Piers Morgan and all the other places. So Yeah, and she's gotten a lot of other stuff wrong. Absolutely. We call her out all the time. But hey, it's nice to see Anna Kasperian in a debate. Now, who was this debate with? Was it with a Zionist? Well, it was with another podcaster who I hadn't even heard of until this clip broke. So let me introduce her. If you guys haven't heard of her either, let me introduce her to you. This is who Anna Kasperian took on. Her name is Pearl Daly, or Pearl Davis, who does a show called Pearl Daily, because it's every day Pearl Daily. If you want a daily dose of Pearl, tune into Pearl Daily. Well, who is she? She likes talking about whores, simps, and half-naked female conservative influencers. I guess that's what she considers herself one. So if you're into that shit, watch her show. The reason I haven't heard from her is I don't remember her being in any conversation when it comes to these important issues like Big Pharma, like Israel. I don't see that. So I would ask, well, why would Anna Kasperian agree to do this? Oh, it was a feminist debate. I guess Anna Kasperian still considers herself a feminist, whatever that means. And Pearl Davis thought she could take on Anna Kasperian. Unfortunately for Pearl, and I hate to be a spoiler alert right now before you see the clip, but Pearl Davis was 100% unprepared for this debate. And I'm going to show you the clip that sticks out. But here's one of the reactions. Mika says, this is embarrassing. Pearl Davis had a debate with Anna Kasperian, and despite days of prep, completely froze under even mild pressure. It's wild to be a professional political commentator. And I guess that's what she is, a professional political commentator, I guess. I don't know how political she gets. I don't know if she actually talks about real shit or she just talks about women and men and bullshit. I mean, you can get that on any lame Instagram channel if you want to do women and men, debate sex issues. Okay, fine, whatever. But she was unable, and this is the key part, she was unable to defend any of her own views. How does that make any sense? When I say unable, I don't mean did a poor job. I mean, she literally went silent. She actually froze. This is not an expression. This is a literal depiction of what happened. And I'm going to show you the clip right now. You've never seen anything crazy like this. And I think the irony here is that Loudest Voice of the Week is going to be because of this dead silence with nobody speaking. And Anna certainly owned it. Again, the issues they're talking about aren't really that exciting. We're talking about feminism. I'm kind of bored by it, to be honest. If we're not talking about imperialism, if we're not talking about propaganda and big pharma capture and all this other stuff, which I think is way more important. But hey, let's see what Pearl Davis does when Anna Kasperian hits her with a question, or I don't even know how this happened, but let's watch it. Let's take a look and we'll respond. Here we go.
Things up. Pearl, what are you doing? Like, seriously. Next question.
Oh my God.
How many women die every year during childbirth?
Not many.
This country has the highest maternal mortality rate of any developed country. So a lot of women do die as a result of pregnancy and childbirth. Yes.
So that's okay. Anna brought some facts. She didn't even have to give any statistics. She just said, comparatively, have the highest death rate of developed nation in childbearing, in labor. That's a fair assessment. She has that. She fact checked that. How do you respond to that? If I guess your point is I don't know how this even has anything to do with feminism, but this is certainly, if you want to debate that, what are you going to do back? You have a stage, you're on stage, either agree with it or disagree, do something, give us something, Pearl. What are you going to do? Here you go. It's your opportunity right now. Here we go.
Pearl isn't saying anything. What?
You got this, Pearl.
What the fuck?
You got this, Pearl. And then the person in the audience whispers, "What the fuck?" Pretty funny. I want to see that again without me interrupting. Just that last part. Anna asking her point blank. to answer this question, or she's giving the statistic, or it's not even a statistic. It's just a comparative. It's a comparative that we have the most highest death rate of women in labor of any other developed country. Okay. What do you say to that?
How many women die every year during childbirth?
Not many.
This country has the highest maternal mortality rate of any developed country. So a lot of women do die as a result of pregnancy and childbirth, yes.
Pearl isn't saying anything. What?
You got this, Pearl.
What the fuck?
So I think the other thing is I probably would have, hesitated to do this for Loudest Voice if I went on her page. You guys are welcome to go on her page too. You can find it easily. I don't mind promoting her. It's kind of sad. If you go to her page right now, she doesn't explain this. She doesn't say, hey, I had a bad moment. She found like her own little clip that she thought made her look good. And it's really bad. It's kind of boring. And so she's trying to rewrite it that there's nothing to be ashamed of here. There's nothing to acknowledge, knowing that this has gone viral. So her own page, she's just going to pretend that this didn't happen and use her own clip that she thinks makes her look good over Anna. And I guess that's the way she's handling it. I don't know. I think for me, if I had a moment like this, I think I would have, you have to face it. You have to be like, hey, I had, maybe make up an excuse. Say I had something tragic happen right before I went on. My mind was distracted. Something, you got to do something, but she didn't do it. And so, this isn't about celebrating Anna Kasperian as so much as what it is. It's a moment of awareness. I think that when we get on stages, to be prepared, because there is a responsibility. Now, in this look, we're talking about, I'm not, obviously women dying in birth is a issue, but add it to the list of other issues. So I don't care what the issue is. You're going to go on stage. You're making a living off of having opinions about things. You better be prepared because you have people watching. And if it was something bigger, a bigger deal, like whether we should be going to war with Iran or not, or whether we should be giving a $50 billion contract to Albert Bourda, head of Pfizer, or not, or just, there's a mountain of things we could talk about. And if you don't have yourself prepared, you're not just doing yourself a disservice, you're doing your followers a disservice, you're doing the community a disservice. Anybody where you should be in a position where you could move the needle, you can make a case, and move the conversation forward. If you're somebody like, I don't know, Candace Owens or Tucker Carlson, or Anna, when she goes on these big shows, when Anna Kasperian goes on Piers Morgan and really make a dent. So if you have a moment like this woman ended up having, this Pearl Davis, I think you got to throw in the towel. I think you're doing the wrong thing. I think you're in the wrong arena. So if anything, we're going to give the loudest voice of the week to Anna Kasperian in this moment, because if you see this and you think you're somebody like Anna who knows how to show up, again, some of her takes are kind of not on point at all, but she shows up and she's loud. If you see yourself as someone like Anna and you're in this space, then you're probably on the right track and doing the right thing. If you relate more to Pearl in this scenario, and find yourself blanking in the exact moment that you need to defend your point of view, then you're in the wrong arena. So hopefully this getting out to more and more people will do that service for people watching, that they will maybe take a cue from one of the two women, or which way they should fall. Because we can't afford to have moments like this in serious conversations on serious platforms. We have to be able to hit it out of the park. I'll give you an example. Jimmy Dore hits it out of the park. He's got just a couple minutes. When he used to go on Tucker, another guy, Glenn Greenwald, would go on Tucker Carlson when he was on Fox News. And those little moments not only persuaded that audience, they persuaded Tucker himself, and they actually contributed to Tucker eventually leaving Fox News, which was a big deal. So when you have your opportunity, you have to seize it. And Anna certainly does. And again, we can call her out when she gets stuff wrong. But in this moment, it's fair to acknowledge when somebody shows up and does the job they're supposed to do. And we need more people like that. And we certainly, like I said earlier, we plan to show up on the stage. We plan to defend our point of view, and however many people are in the room, the better. The more, the merrier, because we are here to influence. We're here to inspire, and we're not going to miss our moment. As Eminem says in 8 Mile, you only get one chance. Do not miss your, what is it? You only get one shot? Yes, you only get one shot. Do not miss your chance to blow this opportunity. It comes once in a lifetime. That's it. So, loudest voice of the week goes to Anna Kasperian for taking her one shot and making it. And she's going to have more to come. That's the point. Eminem, that's the point. The song, you get one shot. Hit that shot. Guess what? You'll get another shot. If you don't hit the shot, you might not get another. That's also of note. Okay, that should do it for loudest voice of the week. All right. Woo, good show today, guys. A really good one. Glad to be back. Thank you guys for being part of the Homeless Left on wherever you found us today, wherever you join us. And we're back in circulation with you, so you can count on us twice a week throughout this year. We appreciate everything. I don't have any big announcements right now, except if you want to catch up on some stuff. We had a great interview earlier on. Go check out Pasta to Go. Don DeBar and myself, we were filling in. Pasta had other commitment, unfortunately, personal commitment. He'll talk about it when he comes back, and he'll be on the show. I believe next week he'll be back on with us. But yeah, go check out Pasta to Go channel. We had some great interviews. I did one with Brooke Jackson earlier today. Great discussion about the medical freedom movement. Go check that out. Should be on with Garland Nixon this week as well, so look for me there. And Truthwire should be up and running, I think, by tomorrow. If you guys want to check out Fee, I don't know if I'm going to go on there or not. We'll have to see. And I'll let you guys know on my Twitter. Follow me on Twitter, and I'll let you know when we're back on with RT, because that's important. That's the national stage. That's the international stage. Very important. I'm starting to realize how important it is when I do have my opportunity to go on RT. So follow me on Matt Weinglass on X, also Homeless Left on X, and you'll see when we go live there. You might be able to catch the live feed from RT.com. It's an international news organization, and they have they want the opinions, the analysis, the professional breakdowns that we like to give for what's happening on the ground in Venezuela, the best we can from where we are here in LA. We do the best we can with what we have to work with. That should do it, guys. Don't forget to support us on Locals. Locals is cool. We're going to be back on. We're going to be more on Locals this year. That's one of our New Year's resolutions. And THL presents on YouTube. Come on, guys. If you haven't hit the like on that one and the subscribe, you got to do that. You got to do that on YouTube. We really appreciate that. And of course, Rumble, Homeless Left on Rumble. You can check out our segments. We're going to be uploading segments. That's another New Year's resolution for us, that we're going to be better about getting segments up quicker, so you guys can go to them. Any particular issue that sticks out for you, you can find it easily labeled, easy thumbnail for you. You want to share those out with people. You can share it out from Rumble or from YouTube, right? Whichever preference you have, and people you know in your circle, they might not even have heard of Rumble. So share out the YouTube link when it's a topic that you relate to, you resonate with. If you want to try to repair broken relationships, and it maybe just takes a conversation spark, we like to know that we're here to help. We want you to know that we're here to help you, assist you with the tools you need to go out and have the conversations that are important right now, and show up in these moments that are important, that we learn how to use our words, articulate our point of views, and don't pull this woman from the last, don't pull one of these, this woman, don't pull a Pearl Davis. Don't go mute. Show up, because that moment might be the last one you get, as Eminem tells you. So that should do it for this week. Let me make sure you guys know what you're going out with, because we always have a nice fun video for you guys to go out with. Oh yeah, this is a good one. Jay Scott gave us this. This is a good, you guys are going to enjoy this. This will be a fun one to end on today. Our first show back, our official season premiere of 2026. The final note for 2020 for this episode, our season premiere. This is a music video called "Smoke That Hopium." Smoke That Hopium. It's a play on hope and opium. You combine hope and opium, you get hopium. Smoke That Hopium by Matt Baker. and the Black Pillars. Ooh, I love that name. Matt Baker and the Black Pillars. Love, love, love. Have fun with this one, guys, and we will throw some of your comments up on the end, and we'll see you guys on Thursday. Remember, always go out in the world with principle, with conviction, with courage. They're all important to have, and we can be consistent with all of them. Finding our own moral compass within, in our non-tribal space we're in, with our critical thinking hats on, those tribal goggles off. That's how we do it here on the Homeless Left. I'm Matt Weinglass, Homeless Left, non-tribal approach to news, power to the people, and free Palestine. We're out. See you guys next time.
Smoke that opium, smoke that opium, hold it in tight before they put out your lights. One more hit of the dream, let it burn real slow. Deep state watching, but we're in the know. Sitting in the basement, eyes glued to the screen. Q dropped a crumb, man, you know what it means. The storm is coming, arrests any day. Been hearing that line since yesterday. We're smoking opium, puff, puff, pass a lie. Trust the plan, patriots, don't ask why. Get your popcorn ready, grab a front row seat. Enjoy the show, folks, this movie's on repeat. WW1GA, we're all riding high. Get your popcorn popping while the years roll by. Red-pilled and righteous in the great awakening glow. Dark to light coming, just don't ask when. Though nothing can stop what is coming, they say. Future proofs past, but it's still today. Do your own research, dig deep in the thread. Tomorrow's the day, that's what Q said. We're smoking opium, lungs full of the dream. Trust the plan forever, part of the team. Get your popcorn ready, butter it up nice. This show's been playing, same scene, same price. Get your popcorn, settle in for the ride. The storm's always brewing on the other side. Candace on the feed, Trump posting in caps. Q-tards in the comments, patching all the gaps. Any minute now, fingers hammering keys, but the credits never roll, just more slop scenes. So we load another bowl, spark it up bright, hold it in tight before they put out your light. Smoking opium, get your popcorn. Smoking opium, trust the plan. Smoking opium, enjoy the show. NCSWIC. Hold it in tight before they put out your light.